Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here, I got my other co-host.
Yeah, it's Spectre.
Yeah, this is episode 63 of Dualshock'd. Last week I forgot to name the number. It was 62. This is episode 63 because I'm good at numbers. But if you haven't already, before we begin going with episode 63, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way, if you like what we do, please subscribe. We always appreciate it. And if you like what we talk about and what we say and what we do, press the like button and also press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know we put up a video. And then of course, we have all of our socials on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and we'll go through that later. But to begin, please subscribe to youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks to go ahead and show your support to the Brotherhood of Geeks. But yeah, what's up, Spectre?
What's happening?
What's up? What you been doing?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of deja vu this week. Just a lot of the same. A lot of World of Warcraft.
Okay.
We did get some World of Warcraft news. Actually,
I was about to bring that up. I'm like, what do you mean? We got an announcement for that.
I don't want to get off on a huge tangent on it, but I mean, I guess to quickly size the positive news. We'll start with that. Wrath of the Lich King Classic has been officially confirmed for sometime in 2022, probably in fall, which is what we all kind of guessed what was going to happen. So I mean, it's not a huge surprise, or it's not earth shattering, but it's nice to have it actually confirmed now. There will be a character boost for people to get up if you don't already have a character in that level range. So everyone's really excited about that. I think Wrath was that was actually the last expansion I played before I stopped and took a long hiatus away from the game and eventually came back. So that's the good news. The not so great news is the new expansion was also now announced for retail WoW, for current WoW, and that's going to be World of Warcraft Dragonflight. I guess I'll start with positive really quickly. Positives are it looks like the story seems to be going back to Azeroth. They're kind of going back to their roots. There's no it doesn't seem like there's any kind of ridiculous, like, crazy lore altering stuff. The story seems to be centering around the dragon aspects and the dragon flights, which are very pivotal and kind of a core part of Warcraft lore. So they're kind of going back to the roots, it looks like, for that. The big draw, I guess, of the expansion is obviously it incorporates dragons. You can actually become a dragon now. You can be a I can't remember what they call the race, but you can be sort of like a dragon humanoid hybrid of sorts. So that looks interesting, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of critical of how they're presenting these characters in game, because we already had humanoid dragon characters before, and I think they looked a little bit different, but whatever. And it's also a new class that goes along with that. It's called an evoker, which I guess is sort of like a mage type character as well. The other big selling point of the expansion is you get like a special dragon mount that you can customize, and they've kind of done a lot of tinkering with the flight mechanics of it. So there's actual momentum to flight. It's not such a there's a little bit more of a finesse and a feel to it as opposed to what we have right now. So yeah, I can't really say I'm excited for it. I will be playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic. All my friends are going to be doing that as well. I think that's really where the excitement is. I don't think there's a lot of love for modern day WoW. I think it's kind of outstayed its welcome. I mean, this will be the third expansion now, removed from the last good expansion we had, which was Legion. So I don't know. I'm just not really all that excited for it. I mean, I guess anything's better than what we've gotten recently, but I can't say I'm optimistic about it. So yeah, so that's what's going on in World of Warcraft right now, and that's kind of where I spend a lot of my spare time.
Okay.
Aside from that, still playing Ghostwire Tokyo.
Nice.
Very, very. God, you really get your money's worth out of this game. I mean, it's a very long game. I mean, it's one of those 10 to 15 hour story things, but I mean, you can put in like a good 40. I think I'm up to like 35 hours now. And I'm still not even all that close to finishing. There's so many collectibles in the game. It's a huge open world. It's not that tedious. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's kind of a relaxing thing. Nothing's missable, so you can just kind of go at your leisure and grab stuff. It's one of those type of things. It's probably right up your alley, to be honest with you, because
Oh
I know
yeah.
you love open world. I mean, your favorite games of all time are like Assassin's Creed. So I mean, that's open world and collectathons as well too. I guess you could say. I mean, I know Assassin's Creed has tons of collectibles in them usually. So
Yeah. I mean,
so
like,
yeah,
I enjoy my open world games. Not like again, I love Horizon. I love old school Assassin's Creed. And I love
sponsored
Code Vein.
by McDonald's Cafe
Oh, don't
Cafe
worry.
today.
I'm
No.
drinking Coke, not sponsored, but you know, I need my caffeine.
What kind of
Not
Coke is that? Is that just a regular Coke? What is that?
no, it's cherry. Let's see. It is cherry vanilla Coke zero. I love me like
That actually sounds really good. I
dude, it's
love cherry
great.
Coke. I mean, that actually sounds really good. I'll have to try that.
It's really good.
Um,
I think it was last year they had it was the like Coke Zero, but it was orange vanilla and it was awesome. But this is very good too.
but I mean, I guess to wrap up, I mean, yeah, Ghostwire. I mean, I guess I don't know, maybe call it buyer's remorse or whatever. I mean, I don't know, or just trying to justify my purchase. But I mean, I guess I'm sticking it out to the end. I'm gonna get all the collectibles and crazy crap to get, and I'm getting my money's worth out of it. But as I said before, I don't recommend buying this at full price. It is an interesting
Man,
game,
jeez.
but I would not buy it at full price. I'd buy it on sale. Maybe under 30, $40 or so. I think it might be worth it for you then if you like open world games and collectathon type of stuff, but and FPS style games with kind of a weird setting and a story. So yeah, so I would say wait for a sale, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Not a whole lot I'm really looking forward to at this time. We'll have to kind of do a probably discussion topic on that eventually about what we're looking forward to. We sort of like we thought about doing that, but we never really actually got around to doing
Yeah,
that.
no, it didn't.
So
No, it didn't. We
I
kind of
think
had
I
to
think
get
that
going with other things because you
I
know
think that deserves its
Activision got
own.
bought up and then Bungie got bought out. So you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, yeah. In our defense, we had a lot of big, earth-shattering news around the time, so that we were going to do like kind of a prediction, sort of not a prediction video, but kind of like a what are you looking forward to video, most anticipated video.
yeah,
So we'll get around to that eventually. But
yeah.
what about you? Are you just still same old, same old Destiny and?
No. First, before I go ahead and do that, I'm curious. Are you
Wow, I
thinking?
can't even drink properly. Look at that.
I will drink from not whole. Oh, um,
That's
are
what happens when you have the lights off and you're wearing sunglasses at night. It's like that Corey Hart song. So I wear my sunglasses. Yeah, go ahead.
um,
So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
um, but
Not that
oh,
song.
not
No,
that song. Oh, okay. The wrong.
I'll put it in Discord for you.
Oh, okay.
I know you've heard this song
I
before.
know I
At
have. I'm
some point in
thinking
your
of the
life.
wrong one. Is oh wait a minute. Is ZZ no? It's ZZ Top. No. Oh
It's not
man.
ZZ Top. Here. I'm putting the link in
No,
Discord
you're
right now.
good. You're good.
It's an amazing song, actually. I love this song. Let's see, and there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic song.
Classic song. Here, hold on. I gotta go ahead and see this. Hold on. I gotta go ahead and do that. Hold on. Da-na-na-na. 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 Oh wait, no, go here. Da-na-na-na. I just want to go ahead and like see because I know I've heard this song. Yeah. Yes, I wear my
Amazing song.
sunglasses. I wear
Early '80s, I
yes.
believe, for that
Oh,
one. Yeah.
it's so good. I love it. I love it. I had to go ahead and like mute you for a second because so that way we don't get hit by the bots.
I think my fashion trend is kind of catching on.
Hey!
I went to McDonald's and I when I got this earlier, and keep in mind it's dark out right now, and it was still dark then.
Uh-huh.
Kid at McDonald's, he was wearing like these shades, like it was
Uh-huh.
like out of like God, who was wearing like was Risky Business or whatever. Like, but he was wearing
Yeah.
shades. It was not this. Say clearly didn't need them at the time. It was like a style choice.
Of
So
course. Yeah, no. I wear my sunglasses at night. Oh, it's so good.
You're
Love
stuck
it.
in your head now, right? Yeah.
It's so good.
That's a good song to get stuck in your head, though. There's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that
no.
song.
The first one, I heard that on the radio earlier today, so that's why I thought it was that. But I'm like, wait a minute, that's the wrong one. I knew it was wrong. Anyway, um, but are you thinking of reviewing Ghostwire Tokyo? I'm curious if you are going to be reviewing this game.
Yeah, that's my intention. I know we were talking about doing like a stream of it as well too, which I really should just kind of just start doing. Because I'm at that point in the game where I'm just running around getting collectibles. I'm just kind of cleaning up at the end. So yeah, I mean I am at a point where I've done basically everything short of the final boss. So I basically completed the game. So yeah, I'm pretty much ready to do a review. So I will do a review for the game before review for the game.
Well, good. Okay, well, that's
Which I think is kind of needed because I've seen a lot of people kind of give commentary on the game, but I haven't seen anybody give like any kind of in-depth review of it and kind of talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is good to know. For me, I have been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is really, really fun. I've also been playing Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which is
Nice.
awesome. It is so good. It is so freakingly good. And we're going to actually talk about this a little bit later in the show. But, oh man, Skywalker Saga, the video game is great.
I want to get it. I can't justify $50 for it right now. You know, I mean, I don't want to get it at full price because
Go ahead.
I don't know. I just don't like paying full price for a game like when I know I'm not going to play it too much right away. You know what I mean? Like I'll kind of wait. You know, I know I'm just gonna. I want to finish up Ghostwire first,
of course,
and then maybe move on to that.
But it's really good, and it's like really self-aware. Like it knows of they make fun of themselves a lot. They're like they know of like a lot of the Star Wars memes and stuff like that. And like it's really, really charming, and the silliness of it's I love it. It's so good. It's great. I couldn't recommend Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga more to anyone. It's just freaking amazing. Playing that, been playing Tiny Tina. And we will.
Tiny Tina is basically just more Borderlands, right?
Yeah, but it's a more RPG. Like it's like Dungeons and Dragons, and there's a bit more RPG elements to it than just.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because Borderlands was not like a shooter RPG.
It does, yes, but it's there. It leans more into RPG. Like you can multi-class in Wonderlands. There's more RPG elements to Wonderlands than there than there is in normal Borderlands. So yeah. Which speaking of, at PAX, Gearbox announced a Tales from the Borderlands 2. They're going to be doing the second one, which is going to be great.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It's going to be great. I cannot wait. And then of course.
I'm not a fan of them, but I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you. You know,
Tales from the Borderlands is like my favorite jam, dude.
I've given Borderlands plenty of chances. It's just not for me.
Oh man, dude, it is great. And then Borderlands 3 is going to be crossplay. And I think there was one other thing I can't remember, but it's going to be crossplay, and there we go. So funsies. So that's what I've been doing. I've been playing through all of that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, all right. Well, with all that being said, should we begin? Spectre has no idea what I'm saying. He is gone quiet. He cannot.
No, I said let's begin. I think my mic was cutting out. I think my mic just didn't cut out there.
Your mic went bleh. All right. Well then, let's begin. Let's begin with what we always begin with: news of the nation. Yeah, all right. Let us begin. Okay. So, we talked about a lot of this. We spent a good portion of last week's episode talking about the new PlayStation Plus roll out. They're redoing how PlayStation Plus works with the three tiers. In episode 62, this is Spartacus, which that's what was the project called. It
I
was
thought that was a fun conversation, to be honest. I think we have a very different, perspective on it. I mean, so I thought I had a good time talking about that.
No, yeah, most definitely, and we're gonna actually talk about this a little bit more, but it's gonna be from a different perspective. We're gonna begin with PlayStation Plus was quote devastating to Oddworld Soulstorm, says its creator. So this comes from the Video Game Chronicle. And of course, if you want to follow along, all the sources will always be in the description below. So go if you want to follow along, go ahead and do that. But we begin with this. So, Lorne Lanning, the creator of the Oddworld series, has claimed that including his most recent game, Oddworld Soulstorm, in PlayStation Plus as a bundled monthly game was, quote, devastating for the game's sales. So remember, this was back last year when the PS5, I think when it first came out, more was within that first month, or it pretty much, there was a month.
It was early on. Yeah,
it was
you're
really
right.
early on. But what they did, it was the month of this game's release. I'm sorry, this was within the month this game released. On Plus, if you had PlayStation Plus, instead of buying this game, you got this free on Plus for PS5. And like, mind you, I think I'm not entirely sure of how money is handled. Where like, hey, we want PlayStation wants to license this game for free on Plus. The company or the developer gets a cut of something. Like, here's just a lump sum. Here you go. You get this, and then the game is free on Plus because you're using the license or whatever. But apparently, this game was devastating when it came to making money, like in financially for Oddworld. So, continuing, speaking on the Xbox Expansion Pass podcast this week, transcribed by Video Game Chronicle, the veteran developer claimed that despite his studio Oddworld inhabitants expecting around 50,000 to 100,000 copies of Oddworld Soulstorm to be claimed, during its time as a PlayStation Plus free game, it was downloaded over 4 million times. So that's really good. That's really good. Lanning believes, though, the studio thus missed out on profits due to the unexpected popularity of the title on Sony's subscription service, eating into potential sales. PlayStation Plus typically delivers its subscriptions up to 4 PS4 and PS5 games each month as part of the subscription. Quote, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'll give you an example around Soulstorm, Lanning said when he was asked about it. He explained that initially he felt that doing a Plus deal was a necessity, quote, to get the project done. We were hitting a number of legacy technical debt issues and talent issues, and the game industry is emerging fast. Huge companies are paying fortunes, he explained. Lanning said that he was initially hesitant to give Soulstorm away on Plus due to the lack of PS5 consoles that were available in January of 2021. However, the team eventually agreed, with Lanning saying that, quote, we thought we did a pretty good deal. He explained, continuing, quote, the most we could sell is less than the money we're getting. We might sell 50,000 units at launch, maybe 100,000. It was pretty small numbers because there wasn't going to be a lot of PS5s. Because it's slipped to April, we had the highest downloaded game on PS5, and it was, I think, approaching close to 4 million units or something like that for free because they were all subscriptions. So for us, it was devastating. Game industry analysis Piers Harding-Rolls has since commented on Lanning's claims, pointing out that it sounded like the game may not have been finished had the Plus money had not been offered. And this is coming from Twitter. This is the tweet from Piers. Few points. Judging by Lawrence's concerns, without the Plus money, the game may not have been finished. The game was delayed, which altered the addressable audience, changing the commercial dynamics. 4 million downloads equates to a much smaller premium sales missed opportunity. However, this does underline the difficulty of making a decision about inclusion at launch. I'm sorry, I'm going to start that part over.
Okay.
However, this does underline the difficulty of making a decision about inclusion at launch for games content subscription services. It is a double-edged sword, guaranteed income with smaller upside versus instability or risk and potential for larger returns. So pretty much I wanted to talk about this because this is fascinating. So the game was downloaded 4 million times because it was free on Plus. I know that that month I added it to my library that month and everything like that. What Harding is saying is that without Plus, like Sony going, here's just a wad of cash, here you go, we want a Plus at this time. And it's at launch. When the game launches, we want it at the same time, or we want it in April, whatever. It's fascinating because Game Pass, a big thing about Xbox Game Pass, what makes it so enticing over the new Plus model that we're getting in June is that you get Gears 5, Halo Infinite, you get all these Forza Horizon 5, you get all these games day one when the game hits on Game Pass. Meaning, if you've already bought Game Pass, you're spending $10 per month, you get this game at the launch. Now, how does the money shift? What is better? And that's why PlayStation is going, no, if you want to get God of War Ragnarok, if you want to get Horizon Forbidden West, if you want to get the new PlayStation games, you have to, if you want them day one, you still have to buy them outright. It's fascinating to hear because
Well, I think his a couple of things kind of come to mind here with this too. I mean, for one, yeah, there is the point that would the game have even been made if they didn't take the Plus deal?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. See that figure that you gave, that 4 million downloads. I kind of have I question that figure. Like, is that 4 million? Is that 4 million just downloads? Is that 4 million just added to the library?
I would believe it's 4 million adding to the library. Like, it downloads,
Yeah,
meaning it's adding.
yeah,
You have this game now. You own
yeah,
this game.
and I think that's not really so he's talking about lost sales. I mean, I don't necessarily think that would have been 4 million sales. Otherwise, like, let's say this game wasn't on Plus, I don't think that would have equated into 4 million sales. I think it's just that people just are. I mean, look at what we do on the show. We always encourage people to go ahead and download and add games to the library. It's just become a behavior that Plus subscribers have kind of ingrained in them at this point. And it's like, why not? You may as well, get some. If you're paying for Plus, you may as well get games out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily that he would have 4 million sales out of it. If anything, it'll be interesting to see what happens because Oddworld Soulstorm is, I don't know if it's on Epic Game Store, but I know it is coming to Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So once it comes to Steam, we'll have some more data on its sales, like concurrent user data, things like that. So we can kind of follow up with this at that time and kind of talk about, kind of how it actually performs, as by comparison, in an environment where you have to pay for it, instead of just having it free on Plus. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting dilemma that he poses, but at the same time, I guess from my perspective, I mean, I don't know. From my perspective, I guess I'd rather have taken the deal and lost sales and made the game instead of not taking the deal and then potentially not making the game and then you have no sales. So I guess that's kind of my idea. And then plus this is keeping this the Oddworld franchise, the Oddworld series kind of going and and fresh in people's minds. It's with a new entry, which I think was actually fairly well received. I'm not really an Oddworld fan.
It was.
Yeah, I'm not really an Oddworld fan. But I mean, so I guess from my perspective, I'd rather make the game, take the Plus deal, make the game, and potentially lose out on sales. I don't think they would have had 4 million sales, is what I'm saying. I think once we get Steam numbers, we might get a much better idea of kind of what the actual interest in the game is. I mean, it's not a perfect example, but because a lot of people on Steam probably maybe had it on PlayStation already, they downloaded it. There's a lot of overlap, I think, to some degree. So we'll see. We'll see how it performs on Steam. I think that'll kind of give us a better idea how popular the game really is.
Well, I think, like, again, he even says that, like, he was projecting 50,000 to 100,000 copies in sales. But you have,
and that seems reasonable for a game like that.
So, like that's what he was projecting. That's what he was, like, targeting for. He said the most we could sell is less money than we're getting. We might sell 50,000 units at launch, maybe 100,000 units. It was small numbers because there weren't going to be a lot of PS5s, which is true. And mind you, we still have a lot less PS5s currently right now. Mind you, we have more out in the wild than we did back when the system was released, and so on and so on. But it is still a hot commodity. So, but what I find even more fascinating, why I wanted to talk about this, is that regardless of the 4 million or 50,000, this game came out on Plus at launch. Like when the game came out, that's when the update, I think came out like the beginning of the month, which was that Tuesday that, the month resets for PlayStation. Like, all right, here are this month's new games. And that's when the game came out, and then you got it free and then if you have Plus, you get it for free. I don't think he even is going like, oh, Phil, 4 million, like, oh, exactly 4 million. But it's more of, we will never know. We will never know if we would have hit the projected 50,000 to be on the low end, or could we have sold 200,000, 500,000? Maybe not. Maybe a million. Who knows? But we will never know because, again, Sony gave Oddworld inhabitants this lump sum, and pretty much it was like, we want this game, put it on Plus. Here's a wad of cash.
Plus, the other aspect of it is, the advertising that comes with this as well too. Just by it being on Plus, it raises awareness of the game. In terms of, like, from a marketing perspective, it's kind of part of the deal in a way. There's a lot more awareness of this game. Like, I think that's actually how I heard about this game. Like I said, I don't really follow Oddworld news or anything like that. So, I mean, I heard about this game because it was a game coming to Plus. So, I mean, that's another factor they have to take into it, is the marketing side of it as well.
But the other thing is that this isn't the first game that came out at launch on Plus. Years ago, Rocket League came out on Plus at day one. So when Rocket League launched, it was also free on Plus. And then because it was free on Plus, it then got this, like, massive, like, people started talking about how fun this game is. I played it years ago and I love it. Now there's a competitive sports league and everything now. There's, like, tournaments being held at the YouTube arena or whatever for Rocket League. But I think the difference with Oddworld Soulstorm and Rocket League is that Rocket League there were microtransactions for that game, even so, or, like, microtransactions came in later. Excuse me, because it's kind of a sports game. You're playing soccer but with RC cars. This is a action adventure game, and the way it's done, like, I don't want to see, microtransactions of this, and maybe you want to put DLC in this. I don't know, but, like, the reason I bring this up is it's about Soulstorm, but it's more about, like, let's look at Xbox. Like, they're part of the sales pitch to the customers to be like, hey, you want Game Pass. You really want Game Pass. Why do you want Game Pass? Well, for $10 a month, you get all of these games, plus any new game that comes out, you get it day one. You get to play Gears day one, Halo Infinite day one, Forza Horizon day one, and then so on and so on and so on. Like, we're going to be getting exclusive. Like, we're at Starfield day one. Elder Scrolls 6 day one. If, all this kind of stuff. That's in, like, should I spend $60 on a game or spend $10 per month? Not only do I get a whole library, I also get this $60 game that I know I'm going to buy, but instead I can pay $10 to play it day one. Like, So that's the whole like sales pitch for Xbox. But Soulstorm lost tons of money. Yeah, the game was made, but who knows how much money in revenue and profit that could have been done if this was not on Plus, that it was still finished and still made.
Well, like I said, I think the test of it's going to be how it performs on Steam when it releases. I don't know. I don't think it has a release date on Steam just yet. I know the store page is up currently.
Mm-hmm.
I just double checked that. But I think that'll be kind of the test to see just how well this game would have performed um, just off of its merits. So once that comes out, when they have some data on that, we can say we'll kind of get a better idea if this was a good decision or not.
Do you think it is? Do you think it was that it's smart? Are you for or against PlayStation not having games day one on Plus?
I mean, for me, it's kind of irrelevant because, like I said, I'm looking at this as an outside observer. I'm not a subscriber to Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. So I'm looking at this as an outsider. But I think obviously from a consumer standpoint, obviously it's much better to have games available day one, exclusives available day one, like Game Pass does, for example. You get much more value out of that equation than you do as compared to what PlayStation is offering, which PlayStation is not offering that. From a corporate perspective, obviously, yeah, they're saving, they're probably getting a lot more money by not putting games out on a day one. They're saving more money. They're getting more revenue out of it because people didn't have to go out and buy these games in addition to having the Plus as well too. So you're making more money out of it. But I think Microsoft's strategy is more so about building a subscriber base long term, whereas Sony is more focused on shorter term profitability, which they have to be, because they're not nearly a financially sound place as Microsoft is, for example. Microsoft can afford to, lose a little bit of money, float some money for a while for long-term gain and long-term customer loyalty. That's what they're interested in. Sony has to be a bit more frugal with things.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least that's how I see it. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not I'm someone that's just looking at this from the outside in. But I think obviously, I think everyone can agree. I can't really think of a good argument against the idea that games being available day one for consumers on either Game Pass or Plus, that's a good thing for consumers, especially if you were interested in those games, because then you're effectively getting much more value out of your subscription then. Game Pass by itself, I can almost I don't think Game Pass is a good value, especially for me. But I think Game Pass has a much better argument to make if you're someone that would buy, like, let's say Halo Infinite day one, and you would buy, I don't know, Forza day one, Forza Horizon day one. Then I could see okay, you're sort of saving money, kind of, sort of, in a way. I can understand that. So yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I mean, can you think of any argument for? I mean, do you not want games available day one on Plus?
so yes, it is way more beneficial, like for the customers, for the people who buy, for the customers, to have it on Plus. And mind you, that's kind of Microsoft's mindset is we want the subscriber base for Game Pass. That is the goal. But the flip side is that you're pretty much leaving money on the table. Now, mind you, you did say that Microsoft has enough money to do whatever. They have money that they have no idea what to do with, hence why they threw it at Activision. And like they have bought or are currently in the process of buying Activision, which was huge. Sony, on the other hand, doesn't have that kind of money to play with. They don't have that kind of thing. So one, you have that, and then two, there is this kind of argument. I don't truly believe this is a real thing, because some people argue that, well, if the game isn't on Game Pass or Plus day one, then that means it's going to be higher quality. And then Sony kind of talks about that, where like, oh, Jim Ryan says that the reason why we don't go with that business model because you're buying for quality. You will buy God of War Ragnarok because you know that this is going to be a Game of the Year contender game. You know you're going to buy a Marvel Spider-Man 2 because it's going to be an amazing game. You know you're going to buy these top, like, high-end, high-class, like a Horizon Forbidden West is a Game of the Year contender. Um, it's an amazing game. Mind you, all the momentum was eaten out by Elden Ring, but that's besides the point. Horizon Forbidden West is an amazing game. You're buying for quality. Um, and like, oh,
Well, I mean, would you say Forza is not of quality? Halo Infinite's not of quality? Anything that Xbox or
and
Microsoft puts out is of not of quality?
so Brett, because I'm saying that's what you see online or on Twitter or whatever. Brett, my own personal opinion, I don't actually adhere to that. I don't believe that because you put Halo Infinite. The Brotherhood of Geeks gave Halo Infinite Game of the Year last year.
What do those guys know?
That's us, you idiot.
I'm kidding. I'm just seeing if you pay attention.
We gave it Game of the Year. Forza Horizon 5, fun, great game. I have more fun playing that than Gran Turismo 7. Now, mind you, I like my arcade racer, but that game is more fun than Gran Turismo. And then, of course, Gran Turismo has terrible microtransaction problems, and there you go. Polyphony went ahead and shot themselves in the head. Like, that game is a good racing game, but oh man, it is, because of the microtransaction crap, it is not good. But anyway, I don't adhere to the whole if it's on Game Pass day one, it's bad quality. Like, it's the quality of it is not going to be up to par. No, I don't.
You don't buy the
No,
propaganda.
I don't buy that at all. Um, but it is the whole. But you're leaving money on the table. You know for a fact, people like you and me, Spectre, are extremely excited for God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I agree.
we're buying that day one. I know I am. I'm making sure that I get the biggest special collector's edition I can get my hands on for that game. Like, people are going to buy it. PlayStation and Sony knows that you're going to buy this, like, exclusive day one because of the quality that PlayStation has spent the past decade plus with their exclusives.
I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Actually, it'll be an interesting topic as we get closer, because we'll see if it actually is released. I don't think it's going to be released day and date on like Steam, for example. So I'll have to figure
No,
out what
it's
I'm going
not.
to do.
No,
And obviously, I don't have a PlayStation 5 anymore, so we'll have to figure out how I do that. I might swing over to your place.
Yeah, you might have to. But
Right.
you might have to. But regardless, there's that. Now, just to continue, just to go ahead and continue on the whole PlayStation Plus thing. In an update, the PlayStation blog has revealed the release date of the new rollout for PlayStation Plus, where they fuse PlayStation Now and Plus into one. So what they've done is that, so it's going to be like this. It's going to be releasing in the Asian markets outside of Japan, other than Japan. They're going to be targeting for May 23rd of this year. Then Japan is June 1st. Then the Americas, so North and South America, is June 13th of this year, and Europe will be June 22nd of this year. Additionally, we're also expanding our cloud streaming access to the following locations for a total of 30 markets with cloud streaming access. The following markets will offer premium tier from Plus at launch. So Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Greece, Hungary, Malta, Poland.
Hungary.
Oh, did I say Hungary? Is Hungary?
You said Hungary.
Oh, okay. Well, Hungary. I'm sorry. Malta, Poland, Republic of Cyprus, Romania, Slovakia, and Slovenia. And pretty much they're doing the rollout and and we talked about this whole thing too. So, yeah. So it's going to be pretty much for us, June 13th is when everything will shift over. So, yeah. So there you go. that's the whole thing on PlayStation Plus. Anything else you want to add to this, Spectre?
No, I think we can move on.
All right. Next topic. Amy Hennig, the creator of Uncharted, and her studio are working on a Star Wars game. So, let me pull this up. From Polygon. Amy Hennig is working on a new Star Wars game. A new Star Wars game is in development at Skydance New Media, an interactive studio founded in 2019 by game director Amy Hennig. Lucasfilm Games and Skydance announced on Tuesday, which I believe that would be like what was the? I'm good at math. That would be the 19th of this month.
I think you got that right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at math. I'm good at stuff. I'm so good at this.
I'm pretty sure you got that right.
Yay. Now Tuesday, it's a return to Star Wars franchise for Hennig, who had previously worked with the franchise for Visceral Games on an ambitious but ultimately canceled project set for the galaxy far, far away. Which, yeah, she was working with Visceral as the head game director for that, and then EA was like, no, we're not doing that. Because EA be EA, I guess. Ugh. Anyway, Skydance New Media describes its untitled Star Wars project as, quote, a richly cinematic action-adventure game featuring an original story, end quote, but did not reveal specifics. No title, release date, or platforms were announced. Continuing, quote, I've often described how seeing Star Wars in 1977 essentially rewired my 12-year-old brain, shaping my creative life and future indelibly, Hennig said in a news release. I'm elated to be working with Lucasfilm Games again to tell interactive stories in this galaxy that I love. And then it goes on. Hennig is best known for her work in film and television with Julian Beek, a veteran of EA whose credits include Battlefield Hardline, Need for Speed, and Visceral Star Wars game. When the studio was revealed, it was hoped to reach gamers and non-gamers alike on emerging streaming platforms with new story focus. Interactive series will employ the art of computer graphics. That was the old press release for the Visceral Games one. According to Tuesday's new release, Skydance New Media has since grown to include, quote, developers and artists with decades of AAA experience in action-adventure gaming, as well as a diverse team of creative consultants from the worlds of film, television, games, and comics. Skydance New Media announced its first project, an untitled Marvel game, last fall. Hennig and team described that project as a, quote, narrative-driven blockbuster action-adventure game featuring a completely original story in the Marvel Universe. So, yeah. What do you think about this? What do you think about, like, pretty much, it's Amy Hennig, the creator of Uncharted, working on a Star Wars game?
I mean, I can't say I'm elated or anything. I mean, I'm not exactly an Uncharted fan myself.
Oh, my God.
I mean, Star Wars games, I mean, obviously I love Star Wars. I mean, it's been really hard to be a Star Wars fan the last, God, 9 to 10 years or so. But I am a Star Wars fan, mostly of, pre 2000 or so Star Wars. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by a game that I thought I wasn't going to enjoy, a Star Wars game I thought I wasn't going to enjoy, Fallen Order. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with that one. I went into it expecting it to be mediocre, and while it didn't, I would never put it like in my top games of all time or anything like that. It was entertaining. It did its job. It was a fun, I think a relatively effective Star Wars game, and I'd like to see more of it. I mean, the best I can say about Uncharted is that they seem to be competently made. I mean, they're definitely not my style of game, but I mean, they seem to be competently made games. I mean, they're known for their graphics, their great action, while also being rather linear. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I need to know more. I guess I got to see what what exactly that they're looking to make. So right now,
Sorry.
too soon to tell. I'm not excited by that pedigree though. I'm not an Uncharted fan, so I can't say I'm excited by that.
You didn't know you did not like Uncharted?
I was not a fan of it. No, I never really actually played through an Uncharted game fully. It's just not for me. It's just I didn't really care for it. It feels more like you're playing a movie than you are an actual game. And I'm someone that I said that this is where an area where you and I kind of classically differ. I'm definitely someone that prefers a mix of gameplay and story and presentation as opposed to just whereas you're more of a lot of games you like are just straight story. They're basically visual novels essentially. And that's it. There's almost no gameplay basically. So that's where you and I differ. I think a perfect video game for me is one where gameplay and story, come together and they weave together, and one you can't separate the two. Both of them work so well together. To the point where you can't imagine it being like something else. You can't imagine the story without the gameplay, or the gameplay being effective with the story, vice versa. So that's my philosophy of video games. Whereas I think you like a good story. A good story in itself can be great.
True. I mean, true. Like, look, I love the Telltale games. Literally when we opened the show, when I was talking about Tiny Tina, talked about that at PAX. Gearbox announced Tales from Borderlands 2, and I'm extremely excited for that. But you talk about the perfect marriage of gameplay and narrative. My favorite game in existence is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That is my favorite game, and there is no way, if you take away the gameplay from that game, it is not the same game. It is not the same game. If you take away the narrative of that game, it is not the same game. So, and they're remaking it. You saw, I reacted, oh my god, I cannot wait for this remake. So, you saying that, Brett likes narrative-focused games. True, but,
I say that as a generality, I guess you could say. I mean, I know, yeah, there's plenty of examples you have of, games where it is kind of that narrative and gameplay mix. But I think in general, you're much more receptive to games that are
for me,
pure narrative.
If I would be gameplay, the perfect game is the fusion of gameplay and narrative put into one, which Uncharted does a fantastic job of doing. Did you only play Uncharted 1?
I played Uncharted 1. I think I touched on a couple of the other ones briefly. It wasn't really for me. It didn't feel like it feels like it would work better as a movie. I didn't feel like I feel like it was just kind of a you kind of being led around by the nose, which I mean a linear game isn't necessarily all that bad. I just didn't feel like I was involved in the story.
Well, one of your favorite,
and I didn't care for the action all that much. I wasn't really all that impressed with the action of it. I'd rather just watch an Indiana Jones movie or play like a Tomb Raider game. I felt Tomb Raider kind of did the same thing better.
Well, one of your favorite games from, I don't think it was last year, but the year before, Doom Eternal. That was one of your favorite games, and that's a linear game.
Linear, yeah, but it's also extremely gameplay heavy, much more even than 2016. I mean, it gives a lot of room for the player to express themselves in the game. It gives a lot in terms of the what
I was just talking about linearity in general. I was just talking about
linearity. I guess maybe I didn't phrase it correctly, but I mean, just because a game is linearness doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. A game that's doesn't really ask much of the player. Essentially, just kind of you're sort of just kind of going from cutscene to cutscene. You're basically just being fed a story essentially, and you're not really participating much in that game. It's essentially it's called I guess the derogatory term for it would be like a movie game, which is something that PlayStation and Sony has kind of been accused of in general. I've seen that criticism even lobbied at God of War 2018, that it's much more of a movie game compared to like older God of War games. I disagree with that. But I think for certain games like Uncharted, for example, I can kind of see the argument that it feels like you're just playing a movie essentially. And for some people that's fine. For me, that's not what I'm looking for. I like to, a lot of my favorite games of all time There's very little story or no story to them. It's very much gameplay focused. So I mean, I don't think a story is required for a game to be good. I mean, really, even I think Doom Eternal, taking Doom Eternal as an example, I think the story is a detriment to that game. I think the game would be better off with even less story.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So yeah, so back to the Star Wars point. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what they actually produce, and then maybe I'll withhold judgment until then. But I'm just not. I'm not super excited. And I'm always saying that. I'm always saying that if you want to know if you're going to like, or have an idea if you're going to like a new game, kind of look at what, just like with a book, you look at the offer and see what they've done before, and see if those, see if they, or a director, see what the director's done before, see if it's anything, that you've liked before. And so far, yeah, there's not much on their resume here that resonates with me, I guess you could say. So, but we'll see. I mean, just because that's not like a perfect rule. I mean, just a bad director can make a great movie, and a great director can make a terrible movie. It's the same with video games. A fantastic game director and studio and developer can make a fantastic game 1 year, and then make a completely garbage game or even a follow-up game to that another year. So it's just a general rule I go by, just to kind of give you an idea of my perspective.
I get you. But about the Amy Hennig Star Wars game, I am extremely excited. I'm even looking forward to.
Well, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Welcome to the internet. Um, I mean, mind you, Amy Hennig is working on, has been working on Forspoken. That's a name. That's Amy Hennig's game.
Oh boy, wow, you're not helping your case here at all.
Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up.
I wasn't actually that I was not aware of that. I wasn't aware that she was involved with Forspoken.
Uh, I don't think I
Forspoken is
don't
not.
believe it's her. I don't believe it's her studio. So I don't believe it's Skydance. I'm actually gonna just quickly double check.
You're starting with the cope. The cope already has started here.
Oh, shut up! Ah,
But
shut
no,
up!
I foresee Forspoken. I think we're going to have a conversation about that when that comes. I think it's coming out this year, right?
Yes.
I
Let's
can
see.
foresee our video on that where we talk about why it didn't sell. So.
Oh, wait a minute. I could be wrong. Thought Amy Hennig.
Because from what I've seen so far, there is zero interest in that game.
I'm double checking. I actually might have been wrong. I thought Amy Hennig was working on this game, but now I could be wrong. Or maybe she was part of it, but then she left the project. I'm curious. Hold on.
Well, the project, I mean, that was a smart move. Then I give her some credit.
Gary Whitta. This is okay. It's written by Gary Whitta, Amy Hennig, Allison Reimer, and Todd Stashwick. They're part of the writing team. Okay, so Amy Hennig is not the game director, which is very, very different. She's one of the writers. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. It's Todd Stashwick, Allison Reimer, Amy Hennig, Gary Whitta, Brent Feldman, and Tool, K. Mitchell Prodi. Those are the writers for this game. So again, I'm looking forward to this game, and again, I've with the trailers I have seen, I really like the gameplay and the traversal.
Or Forspoken, you're referring to?
Yes, of Forspoken, but I don't know narratively what this game is, and that is a problem. But just coming back to
I think that game is going to be another one that just comes out and people just kind of immediately. It's going to be another Ghostwire Tokyo, except I think it kind of deserves its failure. Whereas I think Ghostwire Tokyo doesn't, it has its merits. It doesn't really deserve the lack of success that it has.
No, I get you. But yeah, but closing statements, I'm excited for this new Star Wars game that Amy Hennig is working on. So yeah. Anything else?
No, I think we can move on.
Alrighty. Next topic. Kojima clarifies a tweet saying that Kojima Productions is still independent. Coming from IGN. So, Hideo Kojima mysteriously posted a photo of PlayStation Studios before clarifying that his studio will remain independent. Around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Japan time, Kojima posted a picture of the PlayStation Studios banner with games of all first-party studios, along with Death Stranding. This cryptic tweet immediately kicked off speculation that Kojima Productions officially has joined PlayStation Studios. Kojima followed up 10 minutes later by clarifying Kojima Productions is still an independent company. So it's a picture, and it has, like, just really quick, it's like banners of, like, the main characters of games that are owned by PlayStation. So Guerilla, which is Horizon, Naughty Dog for Last of Us, Santa Monica for God of War, Sucker Punch for Ghost of Tsushima, Insomniac for Ratchet and Clank, and so on and so on and so on. And then follow-up tweet says, and then Kojima's tweet after, it says, I seem to have invited misinterpretation, but Koji Pro has been and will continue to be an independent production studio. And then IGN has reached out for further clarification, which we have heard nothing more. So yeah. The only thing it says a possible explanation for this tweet could be from Kojima Productions already having a close relationship with Sony. Kojima announced the studio at the 2015 PlayStation E3 press conference, and then Death Stranding using the Decima engine, which is the engine that Guerrilla Games uses for Horizon. So what do you think? What do you think about this?
It just sounds like a simple misunderstanding. I think this is why a lot of these people, these industry figures, have to really be careful what they tweet out, because the video game industry in particular just loves rumors, loves speculation, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen like rumors kicked off because of a tweet or something really benign, or something that's really cryptic, or wasn't actually cryptic. It was just kind of being misinterpreted, kind of in a wishful thinking kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is just a matter of just how can I say, just kind of clarifying it, just to say, hey, we're actually still independent, because I think it's probably what you probably saw the rumor mill kind of a buzz. I think if he was if he had been a little bit more forward thinking about it, he would have kind of clarified that in the original tweet and said, hey, we're something to the effect of, we're delighted to work in partnerships with Sony, or blah blah blah, some kind of corporate speak, but also say, yeah, we do remain an independent studio.
It's as you were saying, like, the video game industry is rife with new rumor. Mind you, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I follow wrestling media also. Mind you, I'm wearing a Cody Rhodes AEW shirt, heel babyface winner shirt. Look at that. I like it. Look at that. So nice. Anyway, and Cody Rhodes left All Elite Wrestling to go to WWE now. And there's the wrestling industry is wrestling media. There's tons of rumors and stuff, and people speculate on who's going to show up here and who's going to go where. So, like, I don't think the video game industry is the only, like, media bubble or industry that's rife with rumors when it comes to entertainment, because wrestling is full of it too. But no, this was I think he's just like, hey, look at what we have done. We're with, like, here's Death Stranding. Like, I think this is more of like he was proud of what he has done, and here's the banner, bam. And then people started going, wait a minute, because PlayStation has been on a buying spree. They bought Bungie, they bought Haven, they bought, so many other studios. Do they buy Kojima now? Like, that's kind of, people started freaking out, because, like, wait a minute, what? And, like, even then, there are new rumors of Sony buying From Software. I was talking about, Horizon Forbidden West earlier and how, that game is awesome. That's a game of the year contender, but that game, all of its momentum got sucked up and got just shot when Elden Ring came out. Elden Ring came out a week later, and Elden Ring has been touted as this genre defining game to come out this year, with how, like, Elden Ring and how it's done. It's the way it does open world is so different. It's genre defining, and pretty much Elden Ring is a lot of people's game of the year currently. Um, and Horizon lost all that momentum. So the rumor is, oh well, Sony buying From Software makes sense. A lot of people buy, Demon Souls. The remake is, even though that's a Blue Point game, they worked with From Software to make that. That's only on PS5. A lot of people buy Dark Souls games on PlayStation much more than Xbox. Like, I think it's like 2-1, 3-1 of games bought of From Software games on PlayStation versus Xbox. So a lot of people are speculating. There is no reports. There is no confirmation. There is no one saying. It's literally just rumors. It's speculation that the next studio that PlayStation is buying up is FromSoft. So rumors and rumors. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's not the case. While I'm not a Dark Souls fan, I am very much a fan of Armored Core, and I would hate to have that become, or I guess you could say, remain a console exclusive. So hopefully that doesn't actually come to fruition. But we'll see what happens. And I don't know. Maybe even then, Sony would still just release it on Steam and PC anyways, because really a lot of the audience um, for Elden Ring, I mean, I think the majority of it actually is on PC. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that doesn't come to pass because
Again, there
I
is
don't know how they would handle it.
again, it's a rumor. There is no
Yeah,
there
and,
is
and a lot
no
of
there is no like breadcrumb trail to follow that. This is just
yeah.
people going, it's the crazed, it's the always sunny crazed, it's this, and so this thing goes to this thing, and then now, oh, this means this. So because people buy it on PlayStation more, and there's an exclusive for Demon Souls on PS5, that must mean they're gonna buy From Software. Like, it's like
Yeah, no, exactly. I know it's rumors about it. I just was talking about that, but I hope it doesn't come true.
who knows? I don't know. But anyway, all I know is, like, again, Kojima said a thing, people freaked out. He clarified, done in rings. Yay. Anything else?
No, that's all
All
I got for
right,
that one.
let's move on. Next topic is that Guerrilla Games is already thinking about a sequel for Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, I just apparently I can't stop talking about this game today. Um, so speaking to video VG 24/7. Uh, will there be a Horizon Forbidden West sequel? The game's creative director certainly seems to think so. I have the article from IGN also, because IGN's article actually doesn't have a lot of spoilers in it. So I'm going to use the IGN article, but the original article comes from VG 24/7. Anyway, the creative director, Matthias de Jonge, I'm probably saying this wrong. It seems very French. I apologize. But anyway, he said, just like how Horizon Zero Dawn set up the story beats for Forbidden West, seeds have been planted for the third game too. Quote, the game ends with another big cliffhanger where we're setting up for big things in the next game once again. He didn't give much else away, but said there are several story elements the otherwise unconfirmed third game can pull from. Horizon is really about mystery. Each of our stories has been about uncovering mysteries in both the old world and the present day when the game takes place. Indeed, there is plenty of backstory that we can tap into to develop new storylines and create new mysteries from what we've already established. The same happened in Forbidden West. Um, On top of that, we had stories from the past, from the old world that we wanted to tap into, so we had a lot to work with, as well as knowing how we wanted to evolve Aloy's story arc, and it all just mixed together from there. So the game literally just came out, and they're like, "We're doing a third one already." I'm curious, Spectre, can you look up the sales? Like, 'cause I know you're really good at this, at finding these. Can you look up the sales numbers for Horizon Forbidden West?
Yeah, I was actually going to get off on that point right away too about how I mean I just don't think it's done as well as the original because I mean and for obvious reasons I think the original was very aggressively bundled. Let's see. I mean there's not a lot of good sources on this. I mean I guess VG charts is as good as anything else and the VG charts is pretty it's not really the best source for this, but let's just see let's see Horizon. See what happens here. See if they got sales data on here. Not available. Let's see,
Well,
Horizon.
So I'm gonna take this. So from
Let's see if I can get any kind of sales milestone. Let's see. Horizon Forbidden West sales jumped more than 300% because of bundles. Elden Ring sales beat Horizon Forbidden West in February. Let's see here. Full sales chart for what is this? Okay, so this yeah, so this one has it lagging behind Elden Ring, of course.
well, yeah, and like mind you, back when the game came out, there was a lot of.
I don't think we have a lot of good data on it right now.
No, I mean I have here. I'll take this. This is from GameIndustry.biz, and I'm gonna also link this in the sources. So again, as you're following along, you can also see this. You can also see this because this is something that actually
I would speculate that sales are significantly down compared to like I said, compared to the first game, just because the first game was so just amazingly aggressively bundled. It was bundled constantly and given away constantly.
You're talking Zero Dawn, right? You're talking about the
yeah, the Zero Dawn. Yeah, it was bundled very very aggressively. So I think that kind of muddles the sales data a little bit.
Because from GameIndustry.biz, what I have here is that Horizon Forbidden West is the second biggest PS5 launch so far from the UK box charts. So it pretty much is just behind Ratchet and Clank. Like you have the list here, so like the new entry, and this was in top 10 ending on February 19th. Horizon Forbidden West, Pokemon Legends, Arceus, Dying Light 2, Mario Kart 8, FIFA 22, Animal Crossing, Call of Duty Vanguard, Minecraft on the Switch, Mario Party Superstars, and Just Dance 2022. But then I also see another article. I'm going to take this is from, let's see. Like it's kind of just everywhere. Like there's an article from Sportskeeda, and I'll also have this in the sources too, where Sportskeeda says that I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. Sportskeeda says that once Elden Ring came out, Horizon Forbidden West lost 80% of its sales, and people blame Elden Ring for that. Even then, there were a lot of developers of Horizon that started bashing Elden Ring because
there was a lot of that's a good point to bring up. There was a lot
about this. We didn't actually.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a lot of it was kind of funny. There was a lot of sour grapes there, wasn't there? You know, I mean not there's a lot of people not very how could you say it, very sportsmanlike. You know, I mean there's a lot of jealousy going around there, you can tell. You know, I mean, because it was some of the things you're saying, like, oh, like they were complaining about Elden Ring's way of telling the narrative, for example, and yeah, there was definitely a lot of people green with envy.
Mm-hmm. Um, it's nuts with, and again, I talked about this, and you can't, regardless of your opinions of both Elden Ring and Horizon, which they both of them, regardless, amazing games, both of them, and they are amazing games in their own right. Um, but um, Elden Ring,
Or you don't have to see them as amazing games. I mean, you don't have to see them that.
shut up, because they are.
It's true. You like what you want to like. Alex, I gave Elden Ring a try. I don't really feel need to give Horizon Forbidden West a try because I played the original game to completion, and I doubt that the second one has anything new to really say to me.
Well, then it's not for you, Spectre. No, I'm kidding. But with this, like, you have to kind of like, Elden Ring came out, and you can just see from Twitch, just talk on social media, the Elden Ring, and to this day, we're in April right now. Elden Ring is still on the mind of a lot of people. Now there's this person called Let Me Solo Her, which is this guy has beaten the final boss. I can't remember her name. I'm not even gonna try to say it because I'm gonna mess it up.
I heard about that kind of clickbaity
Um,
story. Like you can tell that they're really scraping for any excuse to talk about the game because they know the game is still popular.
because the game is good, and it's everywhere.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm sure it's a fantastic game if you like Dark Souls. It's more Dark Souls. If you don't like
It's more
if you
than
don't
that.
like Dark Souls, you will not like this game.
It's more than just Dark Souls. No,
It's more Dark Souls, and there's nothing wrong
it's
with that.
way
People,
different than that, though, Spectre.
it's the same game. It's
No, it's
fine.
not. It
Yeah,
is. It is like, it has that Dark Souls feel to it because of, like, you can die easily, and if you mess up, you're gonna get your crap kicked in. You're gonna get your S word kicked
it's
in.
Dark
But, like,
Souls with it's Dark Souls with a slight lore reset and some and more of an it's an an open world it's as opposed to a more of a quasi open world.
okay.
So that's the main difference. And From Software has been doing this forever. We've had From Software. I mean, how many times did they reboot like soft reboot Armored Core? Like 3 or 4 times. How many times did they reset the lore on that? At least like 2 or 3 times. They'll
Um,
probably do it again. And when Armored Core 6 comes out or whatever they call it, I'm sure they'll do it again. It'll probably be another lore reset.
and then you'll be like, now it's my favorite thing ever.
I what I've always liked Armored Core.
That's what I mean.
It's not.
But like, you're like Armored Core. But if they do if they do something with Dark Souls, though, you're like, nah, it's terrible.
Yeah, no, I don't think I don't like Dark Souls. I don't think it's I think like I said, I think Armored Core is a better game. But people like there's a very vibrant vocal fan base for Dark Souls, and that's fine. Whatever. If that's what people like, that's what people like. Definitely was not for me. It's definitely not for a lot of people.
Oh,
But
Spectre.
but like I said, if it's I understand Elden Ring is kind of the obsession for this half of the year, and like I said, people are that example you gave of that story of that guy or whatever. I mean, that's just another clickbaity nonsense non-story that people are bringing up just because as another way to just talk about Elden Ring more. Because we kind of ran out of things to say about Elden Ring, so we got to kind of come up with like stories about, oh, this player did this or this player beat it super fast or did this or that. I mean, I understand. There's people still want to keep talking about it. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's okay not to like the game. You don't have to like the game just because everybody else around you is telling you to like it.
Funsies. Well, it's good to know where Spectre sits. So anyway,
I know your perspective is like everything that's popular
Hey!
and
There are
yeah,
things that I don't like. I can't think of
exactly.
them right now, but there are
And
things I don't like.
that's the trouble with liking everything that's popular is that eventually you're going to come across some things that are popular that you just don't care for.
Like, oh, yeah, I don't like Fortnite. That's like the most popular thing. But again,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
have
I
their
wouldn't
opinions.
exactly call you the biggest Call of Duty fan in the world either.
No, not at all. No. But yeah. Anything else, Spectre?
No.
Oh, Key's like, please get me out of here.
No, I'm fine.
All right, let's move on. Next topic is that Sucker Punch has revealed its final patch for Ghost of Tsushima, the video game. So, Ghost of Tsushima has received its final patch. Um, Pretty much there's a patch notes. This comes from IGN, and I also have a reported from PlayStation Lifestyle. Sucker Punch has shared the news on its final patch for Ghost of Tsushima patch 2.18. And indirectly teasing that they are full steam ahead on what's undoubtedly next, which is their next project. So after this patch is it. They are done with Ghost. They are now moving on to whatever project they're working on next, whether it's Ghost of Tsushima 2 or something entirely differently. Quote, while we aren't actively working on any additional patches at the moment, we will continue to monitor feedback on the community run Got Legends subreddit and messages sent to @SuckerPunch Prod on Twitter for any high priority bugs or issues that emerge. We want to say a huge thank you to the entire community for the incredible amount of support and feedback we've gotten since launch. So it is just, again, it's the developers thanking the audience and the people who have played their game for just the enormous amount of support that it had. For us, we gave the Brotherhood of Geeks gave this game game of the year in 2020, and I love this game. I love
It's a fantastic game, and
Ghost of
I
Tsushima.
yeah, I mean, I think they've done a great job of supporting it even after launch as well too. I mean, they added a multiplayer mode on, they added a story DLC as well too. A lot of little quality of life things as well. So I mean, they've done a really good job supporting this game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, I think they should move on to their next project and devote the resources to that. I think Ghost of Tsushima is a complete game at this point. The only thing I would request eventually would be it'd be nice to have a Steam port of it. I'd like to be able to play the game, and be able to do all the fun stuff I can do on PC with it, and it'd be an excuse for me to go through it again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, and even then, I don't need that for anytime soon. I mean, I just, that was only a few years ago, not even that we finished it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I mean, very well deserved. I'm very curious to see what they do next. And yeah, I mean, this is like I said, for me, this was kind of a redemption story. I didn't really care as much for other things this developer had done in the past. I mean, well, not that I didn't care for it, just I wasn't terribly impressed with things that they've done in the past, and this really cemented them in my mind as someone to watch out for. This is if I see their like I said, I'm looking forward to their next project.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. I am so excited, and the amount of support they have for that game is like, I was not expecting Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and that multiplayer is awesome.
Yeah, it kind of came out of left field. Like I didn't really expect it to have a multiplayer mode. I don't think it really didn't even need a multiplayer mode, but it was done very well.
Oh yeah.
And um, I'm happy that they did that. They supported the game. I didn't actually even do the myself. I didn't actually play for the story DLC. I figured I'll save that for my next playthrough.
Mm.
That I do eventually. Like I said, hopefully I can do a PC. That's probably the one game I'd really love to see on PC right now. If I could pick the next game they poured over, it would probably be that'd probably be it. I mean, because that's a game that I really adored. Like I said, easily was my game of the year without question that year. It was a very easy choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, this is just saying that they are moving on, and I'm excited for whatever they are going to work on next.
Now we should move on.
Yes, we should.
See what I did there? Yeah.
Next topic is that a PlayStation animator could be hinting at a Last of Us remake for 2022. This is from Video Game Chronicle. A PlayStation Studio visual arts animator has teased an unannounced first-party game that they suggest could release this year. In a series of tweets published over the last month, as spotted by at Okami13 _ Robert Morrison, a veteran game animator who recently worked on God of War at Sony Santa Monica, claimed that PlayStation, quote, has some bangers coming out this year, and alluded to an unannounced project that he's been working on. The animator claims that he is not working on the upcoming God of War Ragnarok. According to his LinkedIn bio, Morrison currently works for PlayStation Studios Visual Arts, the same studio that is understood to be working on a remake of The Last of Us for PS5, according to multiple reports. It's been previously reported that the unannounced title could release this year, and VGC has heard from their own sources that the remake is nearing completion. In multiple tweets published in the last few weeks, Morrison has alluded to the PlayStation bangers releasing this year. In addition, he claimed that he's been working on a title for nearly 5 years that hasn't been shown. However, the animator only joined Sony in 2021, so it's not clear if this time frame is in relation to his current project at PlayStation Studios. However, as noted by social media users, the animator acknowledges The Last of Us in multiple posts, including one which states his favorite game. So he has like different tweets. So his first tweet, it was a nice surprise. This was on March 18th of 2022. Was a nice surprise to receive this rad gift from PlayStation's creative arts team. PlayStation has some bangers coming out this year, and it's just some cool. Like he has a new shirt plus some like magnets. It looks like or stickers or whatever. And then continuing. Hi, hashtag Portfolio Day. This is April 12th. I'm Robert, and sometimes I animate characters getting ouchies. Everything I do is a team effort, and at some point this year, I'm going to be able to post new stuff. And he puts a gif of Kratos from God of War. From God of War. I'm not working on Ragnarok, but something equally cool. And then on March 3rd, he says, that feeling when you have 3 to 5 years you work can't show. And then again, so on and so on. So this guy, Robert Morrison, is saying that he's been working on the like multiple reports saying that PlayStation is remaking Last of Us. Which, why? I think I've stated.
And did we? I mean, it's like deja vu. It feels like we talked about this before too. I mean, this is something that's been kind of, they've talked about before, and it's a strategy they've been talking about, and just re-releasing these games that have been a success for them, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just another cash in. I mean, maybe if you're like an extreme, I mean, well, you are kind of an extreme Last of Us fan, so I don't know what's your take on this.
No. Don't remake this game.
There you go. I mean, the guy that'll buy anything says no. So
the first game is perfect. Why would you do that? Like, why? Like the game is perfect.
I think we can all agree, and it's maybe this is a great topic we should store away for later. Not everything needs to be a remake, and you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. I know for myself, for example, going off of some of my favorite games of all time, I don't really want to see a remake for a lot of them anymore. Once upon a time I did. Now it's like I really don't want to see another like a remake attempt at like a Silent Hill game. I don't think I do unless it was handled really really well. I just don't want to see it because they just screw it up. It just becomes a cash in type of thing. And I don't know. I don't want to see these. A remake should be something that is great. It's a celebration of a classic, of an amazing game, or a chance to redeem a game that maybe didn't get it quite right the first time around. That's an effective remake in my opinion. But just to shove out a remake just to fleece people for some more money again, I don't. I said, you don't like the idea of it.
I mean, like, look, because you and I have on this show and otherwise, both of I have like oozed over Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which was a remake somewhat. It was a remaster remake. Final Fantasy VII is straight up and down a remake. Like, there's a lot of stuff they added and a lot of things they changed, but it still feels like Final Fantasy VII. But I think the thing is that Final Fantasy VII Remake and even Shadow of Colossus, the remaster, remake, whatever that is, um, it's still the same game, but it's so much nicer and it looks amazing now. That was a PS2 game that got just like a shiny polish remaster on the PS3 with Ico put into a bundle, and then they redid it, kind of rebuilding it from the ground up graphically, and then adding some things and like stuff, ways of life and stuff like that. But like Shadow of Colossus PS4, it's pretty much the same game, but just plays way better. Um, I think the difference with Last of Us is that we got this game back in like what, 2013? Yeah, 2013, because it was, or 2012 was, yeah, 2012. Sorry, because it was the holiday before the PS4 came out. It was the Swan Song, or no, it was 2013, but it came out in the fall. Anyway, whatever, or in the summer, whatever. 2013, Last of Us comes out. It's the Swan Song for the PS3, and it's pretty much the game of the generation. It is that, if you have to play Last of Us 1. That's why Last of Us...
No, you don't.
Shut up. Last of Us Part 2 was such a eagerly anticipated game because of the first game and just how much of a classic and how, like, it is a perfect game. Or it is one of those games that is touted as, like, this is people's favorite game of all time. And there are two, you can either do a really cool, really well done remake, or you can totally F it up and blah. So I think we haven't separated ourselves enough in time, like in actual literal, like, days, months, years time, away from Last of Us in order for us to warrant a remake for Last of Us. I just feel like we don't need one right now. If you want to do it 10 years from now, fine. You're done with Last of Us. You've moved on.
I mean, I guess to play devil's advocate, I mean, it was originally a PlayStation 3 game, so I mean, we are 2 generations removed from it right now. But the caveat there being that it's kind of been soft re-released, remade before in a way, because it was re-released on PlayStation 4.
Remaster.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of already been re-released and upgraded.
Exactly. So that's why
unless they want to just I think for you, the only way to get like a hardcore fan of it interested would be like if they came back and said, "Hey, we're going to completely redo it from the ground up. We might add content. We might like the equivalent of DLC content. We might completely redo all the assets. It's going to look like a PlayStation 5 game. Then you might be on board with it."
That's really the only way that I will be like, all right, I can get down, is that this is a similar, if not the same game that I played, gameplay, story, that kind of stuff. But it's just it's using the Decima engine, and it looks like a PS5 game. But I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's my whole take on it. Shall we move on?
We shall.
Yes. Next topic is that could we be getting more Uncharted games? Naughty Dog recruiters has seemingly hints that there are plans for more Uncharted games. This is again from Video Game Chronicle. A newly appointed recruiter at Naughty Dog has seemingly hinted that Sony is planning future Uncharted releases. On Tuesday, Christina Marie Drake Beretti? I'm sorry, I'm messing that up. Announced on LinkedIn that she has joined the studio this month as a primary recruiter. In her post, she said that she's, quote, scouting for talent at every level, and it's special being able to be building future teams for not only new titles, but for the legacy of Uncharted. Naughty Dog. Let's see. Then it's just talking about all of its history, about Lost Legacy. yeah, so pretty much it just kind of goes on that they maybe. I mean, we got the new Uncharted movie, which was fun. Um, wasn't amazing. Wasn't like, oh my god, everyone needs to see it, but um, it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray. Um, but yeah, so apparently, according to a
Well, we
LinkedIn,
all knew that was going to happen. So.
but apparently, according to a LinkedIn profile, um, we're getting more Uncharted games. Do I? Do we want more Uncharted games? Do we, Spectre?
Well, I don't, but you probably do.
Um,
Or are you getting sick of them now too?
I'm not getting sick of them, but I'm just like, where do you go after Uncharted 4? The only way I can see it is if you follow Drake's daughter, but I don't know where you go. It's like, honestly, to me, it feels just a fully like well done, complete ending for like all the characters: Nathan Drake, Sully, Chloe, um, like everyone. Um, it's it's just so well done that the way Uncharted 4 ended, that I don't really want another. I don't really want another Uncharted game. Like, I don't know. I really don't. And it's kind of just one of those things where I'm like, where do you go? What do you do? You know, I don't know. Like, talk to me, Spectre.
I think you just give up.
Yeah,
We don't
Elena.
want we don't need more of this crap.
Yeah, like, you just give up. You just quit. You're like, oh, I don't need it anymore. I mean, like, it's just the way it ended with Nick and Elena, and then their daughter. Like, it's so well done. I just, I don't think we need one. Because then you're like, you follow her daughter, and now you're just doing Tomb Raider. Now you're actually leaning into the joke. Inspector has gone because he doesn't care. Okay.
You know me too well.
All right, then. Well, I guess we'll move on because Spectre is just zonked out. Anyway, let's move on. Next topic is.
I know you'll get to an interesting topic eventually.
Yes, I will. Don't worry, we will. This is actually a little fun little tidbit. But hey, guys, you don't have to use your PS5 to update your DualSenses anymore. Pretty much, you're like, I don't have a PS5.
Oh,
What? Um, PlayStation released an app allowing users who own Windows 10 or 11 computers to update the DualSense controller. Previously, owners of the controller needed a PS5 in order to do the firmware updates. But this new app, appropriately titled Firmware Updater for DualSense Wireless Controller, is available now on the PlayStation website. And now all you have to do is you just plug it into your computer, and it will do the update. You do not need to plug it into your PS5. So if you're like me, who has a charge station, and like doesn't want to plug it into the PS5 or whatever, because all of his other USB-C cables are used for his phones and everything else, you don't have to plug it into your PS5. You can plug it into the computer, which is great.
well, wait, I'm confused on that now. So there wasn't a way to update the firmware without a PlayStation 5 before?
Yeah. So
Seems a little silly. I mean, I don't have a DualSense controller. I've for I mean, I guess this is good for PC players that have a DualSense controller and use one. Myself personally, I use a Xbox Series X controller.
mm-hmm.
I think it's a better controller, but it's just more comfortable for me. But I just find it hard to believe like there wasn't any way to update the firmware on it.
Nope. You had to do
Or
it.
no official way, I guess. It seems it's kind of wild, but I guess I mean it's good that you can do that now. But I mean, it just seems kind of wild you couldn't do that, at all before. Although to be fair, I've never really gone out of my way to try to. I've never. I can't think of there's an occasion where I've had to update firmware on a controller before.
Yeah.
It's just usually controllers are very much plug and play. Even on PC, it's more so just using like X inputs or whatever to kind of get it running. But I guess it's good. I mean, that's good positive news. I mean, it's not the most interesting news, but it's positive.
Hey man, sometimes we're here to be like, hey yo, there's this thing that happened.
Sometimes we have to be what is it? What's the one that the most boring channel ever, that C-SPAN or whatever. Sometimes we have to be C-SPAN and just report nonsense going on in the background.
It's not nonsense. Like, it's not just like, dude.
I guess you're right. It's not nonsense. It's just kind of like,
Spectre wants to talk about sexy stuff. He wants to talk about.
Oh yeah, well hell yeah, that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants the debate. They want the interesting stuff. They want the,
do it for the content. That's what it's for. Do it for the content.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I had my way, we'd have like some crazy topic every week about we'd be at each other's throats. It'd be like Crossfire.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh man. Alrighty then. Okay, let's move on.
But to be fair, we don't. I mean, we don't all. It's not like we get a topic every single week that's like that. Sometimes we just have a take that just. I mean, we're kind of in agreement on it, and there's not much more to say. I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna pick a fight or a debate over something I don't fully believe in. I'm not just gonna argue for the sake of arguing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I am glad that you don't, because.
Yeah, and I don't do well when I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing. I do much better with stuff I actually believe in.
Good to know. All right, well, let's move on. Let's actually move on to the next topic. Here we go.
All right.
Next topic is that LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has its best launch in LEGO game history. Coming from IGN, the Skywalker Saga is blah, 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 blah. Let me restart. Blah. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga had the best LEGO game launch in history. Publisher Warner Brothers Games revealed in a press release that the game has sold through 3.2 million copies in its first 2 weeks and has surpassed sales records worldwide. Quote, the game has sold through 3.2 million units globally in its first 2 weeks and has exceeded sales records across every platform, region, and edition. And then there's like a tweet from them, and it's like, biggest global LEGO game launch, like that kind of stuff. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's really well deserved. I mean, I have it on my wish list right now. I mean, really the only reason I haven't gotten it is because I don't like buying games, right away that I know I'm not going to play immediately. I'm working on finishing up Ghosts right now, Ghostwire Tokyo, and I kind of want to try to finish games. It's kind of my resolution for the year, is I really want to finish the games that I start. And maybe once I finish that, maybe I'll consider going to that, because there's not really much else that's coming up like soon that I really like have to play. Yeah. So maybe that'll be my next game I play. But yeah, no, I mean, it looks really well done. I've always kind of liked the Lego games. I love Star Wars, of course. I mean, it looks like it's very content rich. It's going through, 3 amazing movies worth of content, 3 mediocre movies, and of course 3 horrendous movies worth of content. But yeah, I mean, it's still 9 movies of varying quality that you're going through in Lego form, and it looks really, really well done.
It really is.
Yeah, even if you're, I mean, like, especially for you, I mean, it's even more of a value for you because you love everything Star Wars. I think you love every movie.
I do not love every movie.
You love every movie to death. You worship what's his name, Ryan Johnson or whatever, and J.J. Abrams. You have like a shrine built to them. you love everything,
Oh boy.
and so I mean, it's even more of a value to you because you're getting 9 movies worth of content that you love.
I mean, mind you, I very much did like a lot. I mean, Force Awakens is great.
That'll be on your tombstone.
Wow. Okay.
I very much did like a lot.
Okay. Force Awakens was great. Last Jedi I defended. I actually really liked that movie.
God, I
Um,
hated that movie.
but
I
but but then Rise of
God,
Skywalker comes out and undoes everything that movie does because those two movies are very connected. Unlike Force Awakens, everything they set up in Force Awakens, they kind of just undo in Last Jedi. Um, like softly, like there's a lot of like things they don't like follow up on. So then we're like, all right, there's some things from Force Awakens. Like they'll probably follow it up on the last movie, and then they don't because J.J. Abrams only did Force Awakens, and then Ryan did the other two, and he kind of just went, all right, slate clean. We're starting here. Da 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 da. And if you think 5 minutes too hard about Rise of Skywalker, oof, da. Like, eesh, like, no, I can't defend.
that's the best advice I really have for anybody watching those movies. If you really want to try to enjoy them, is just don't think at all. Just completely turn your brain off and just watch flashing colors on the screen
Yeah.
and kind of enjoy it like a toddler might enjoy it.
Oh wow.
You know, with the eyes of a child.
Like again, I
That's
liked Last Jedi, but then Rise of Skywalker undoes everything that movie did, and then I'm like, oh, well, crap. So there you go.
I like I said, I'm still of the mind that yeah, I don't want to get off a tangent on it, but it was a story that never needed to be told. I guess you can make that argument with the prequels as well too. It was a story that we really never needed to see, but um, at least the prequels, to their credit, they have some memorable moments to them,
Yeah.
and they weren't all horrible, and they tended to get a little bit better, kind of as they went along. I guess you could say. At least they were memorable. The sequel trilogy here, at least they weren't trying to force feed us kind of a Disney message and agenda. They were kind of their own animal. They kind of did their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there really was a political message being kind of force fed to you for those. I mean, yeah, of course, if you look at the documentaries and stuff, they say like, "Oh yeah, we were inspired by this," and blah blah blah. I understand that, but whatever. Um, but yeah, that's yeah. I don't want to get off on a Star Wars rant because
No,
it's
you're good.
it's sad to talk about Star Wars nowadays.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, good for them. This is a good game. Go play it. It's great. I've been playing it on my off time, and it's great. It's awesome. But yeah, shall we move on?
We shall.
Great. All right. Next topic is that All Elite Wrestling is working on a new video game, and there are more details coming out about it. Okay, so as I've said, this is kind of more from me because I love wrestling. I love wrestling. Spectre Spectre over here loves wrestling even more. He
Oh
loves
yeah, I mean you're
professional
not even a
wrestling.
fan. Yeah,
I know,
I
right?
go
I'm
to.
not. No, not at all. I have no. I am nope. Nope. I am not wearing a Cody Rhodes AEW shirt, even though he's in WWE now, doing fantastic work in WWE, and that's the only good thing on WWE right now, outside of RK Bro. But anyway, as the AEW mark that I am, um, I wanted to talk about this because this happened. I believe it was this past week on Dynamite. So All Elite Wrestling, they're on every Wednesday on TBS. AEW Dynamite every Wednesday, 8/7 Central. I watch it every week. And they also have their show Rampage, which is on TNT every Friday at 10/9 Central. So, and they're great. If you are a wrestling fan and you have not seen AEW, and I highly recommend it. And even if you're like, I've never seen it, or whatever, I highly recommend watching AEW, whether you like it or don't like it. But they're working on a new AEW video game. Ukes, who is the developer who has worked on WWE games since forever ago, since like the 90s on the PS1 and that kind of thing. Yuke's has been the developer who has been working on WWE games up until 2020. Yeah, up until the WWE 2K20, which we all remember, that game was a burning pile of crap. It was broken, it was glitchy, it was almost unplayable. When it shifted to January 1st of 2020, the game was actually unplayable because like the game couldn't recognize this game either what like the game you couldn't play the game in the year that it was meant to be in. Like 2020 was a mess and a half of a game. Ukes left 2K because they were like 2K wanted Ukes to pretty much put more microtransactions in, more virtual currency, and all the stuff that makes the NBA games the NBA games. And 2K was like, we want more of that in WWE games. And Ukes, a Japanese company, who was like, no, we don't. We want to make a good video game. No. And they left halfway through production of WWE 2K20. And they left and went off somewhere. And I talked about this with you or with my friends and everything, that I was like, I am betting money that they're going to AEW and working on the AEW video game. And then I believe it was like last year, AEW Games, which is their YouTube channel, they announced and they showed off like just quick trailer. It was like maybe a minute and a half, showing it off, announcing that we are working on an AEW console video game developed by Ukes, the guys who did No Mercy, the guys who did Bring on the Pain, all that kind of stuff. They worked on WWE SmackDown versus Raw. They worked on or Here Comes the Pain. There we go. I had to think about that for a second. They worked on the PS1 games, SmackDown 1, SmackDown 2, all that kind of stuff. And now they're working on the AEW game. So, I wanted to give you that for preface. Now, on Dynamite this past week, at the end of the show, Justin Roberts, who is the ring announcer, he pretty much was there, and Tony Khan, who is the president and CEO of All Elite Wrestling. He's like the Vince McMahon. He is the guy. Tony Khan is not an on-screen character, even though they mention him a few times on TV. He is not a character like Mr. McMahon. But, like Vince McMahon owning WWE, Tony Khan owns All Elite Wrestling. After AEW Dynamite and Rampage went off the air, because there are some times where Rampage gets taped for Friday on the same day that they do Dynamite. So some weeks they just have one, and Rampage is only an hour, so Dynamite's live, and then there's an hour of Rampage that they record after Dynamite goes off air. You have that, and that gets put on Friday. There are other weeks where they do a live Rampage along with a live Dynamite. Anyway, after AEW Dynamite and Rampage went off the air, President Tony Khan came out to the live crowd and announced that the official name of the upcoming video game is called AEW Fight Forever. Now, for habitual readers of wrestling dirt sheets, which is this guy, the title of AEW's upcoming video game will come to no surprise, as the following promotion's trademarking of the name back in late March. Fight Forever is one of many infectious chants wrestling fans erupt into, letting wrestlers know how impressed they are in their in-ring moves and everything. So pretty much, fight forever! Fight forever! Pretty much in a wrestling match, if a match is really good, we love both of these wrestlers and they're doing fantastic work in the ring, we just want to see them fight forever. In addition to the live Pittsburgh audience inside scoop for the game's title, the AEW ring announcer, Justin Roberts, as I mentioned before, invited fans to perform a series of chants which would be recorded for the game. So instead of taking it from when the show is live, they actually wanted, like, all right, we have auditioned you to be the crowd. We want you to do these chants. So it's so what
are you building up to saying that you're in the game?
I wish I was at this show.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I
is
wish.
that like the build? Is that the
I
build up?
wish. But mind you, that Pittsburgh show was really good. It was literally this past Wednesday, as time of recording. Like, it was great.
Why didn't you go? You could have been in the game.
Because we're in Wisconsin.
I guess so.
Mind
Yeah.
you, mind you.
I'm still waiting to be. I will be in. Yeah, like I said, if American McGee ever if they ever put out Alice 3, American McGee's Alice 3, I will be in that game. Supposedly, as
My,
part of the
mind you,
Patreon deal or whatever. So yeah,
mind.
I'm still waiting for my moment. So.
Hey, mind you, if you're a wrestling fan, who watches this, AEW announced on that same show that, hey, we're doing this pay-per-view called AEW Cross New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door, which is a pay-per-view taking pretty much the best wrestlers of All Elite Wrestling and all the best wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which a lot of the guys from AEW has worked in New Japan, and they're going to be doing a pay-per-view and they're going to be fighting each other, and it's going to be in Chicago at the United Center on June 26th, and I can't wait for that, and I'm definitely going. The go-home show for that pay-per-view is in Milwaukee, and I can't wait to go ahead and see that. Ooh. But anyway, back to the article. What ensued was a rumble of chants for AEW World Heavyweight Champion Hangman Adam Page. Dual Adam Cole Bebe and Boom chants. So Adam Cole Bebe, and the Boom is his finish when he goes boom, all the different things. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what I'm talking about. FTR as a tag team is pretty much one of the best tag teams. Chance for Dax and Cash. Chance for the icon Sting from WCW, who is now in AEW. And there's tons of other ones from.
Wait, Sting is still around?
Yeah, he like.
How old is that guy now?
He's in his 60s, and he's wrestling like, dude.
Does he still wear the crow makeup?
Yes.
Awesome.
Dude,
I love that.
Dude, so Darby Allin, who
Does he still use the bat too?
Yes. Yeah, it's Sting.
I love it. I love it when people, they know what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Dude,
right? You know what I mean?
like, dude, I love it because AEW allows the wrestlers to to be themselves. Darby Allin, who is now a mega star, he's a big star in AEW, but like when the promotion started, Darby Allin was this up and coming star, and Tony Khan brought in Sting, and he's like, I want you to be with Darby. I want Darby to be with you, and you be with Darby, and that kind of thing. So they kind of have this like father-son kind of like they never mention it on TV, but us fans, we like, that's Darby's dad. Like we crack jokes about it, but we love Sting. Sting. So Darby Allin had this coffin match with against Andrade El Idolo on Dynamite.
I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be getting off on a tangent. I know you can talk about wrestling for hours.
I will end it with.
It's like getting me off on like a Warhammer tangent or something. But anyway, so you said there's a game coming out, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was talking wrestling. But yes, pretty much what they did on Dynamite. So like it was only for the live crowd, so you didn't see this on TV or anything. Pretty much, if you want to find it, you got to go to YouTube, and hopefully, AEW themselves didn't like hit it for copyright or whatever. Because in the article, the video that they put into the article is gone now because it contains content from All Elite Wrestling, which has been blocked on copyright grounds. Because they're like, we this, even though in the article we do not want this out in the public eye or whatever, which again makes sense. But it looks really good. I saw early footage of it at the Fan Fest for All Out, and we saw like a little bit of actual gameplay between Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy, and it looks really fun. Like it's more arcade-like, which I am super down for. Like I am so excited for this game, and I had to bring it up on this because I love wrestling. And I had to talk about this.
Any excuse to talk about wrestling, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I'm very excited for this game. And part of this channel is we are here to not only like entertain you, but it's also to show sides of ourselves that, we want you to know us. I love wrestling. I wear wrestling tees. This is a Cody Rhodes shirt. I'm a huge fan of Cody Rhodes. I've been a fan of him since like forever. He's one of the grandfather, one of the creators of AEW. It's him, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega created AEW with Tony Khan being the like billionaire owner, and now Cody Rhodes left AEW to go to WWE, and Cody Rhodes is doing a great job in WWE. I like all wrestling. I watch Impact, I watch New Japan, I watch AEW, I watch WWE, all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to talk about this and have you guys get to know a little bit more about me and what I'm excited for. Well, Spectre here gets to listen to me ramble.
Okay.
Maybe next time. Maybe for the next one. Maybe we should put a Warhammer. If we find a Warhammer article, we'll put it in there, and then I'll just go ahead and.
It's pretty easy to do, actually. There's a lot of Warhammer games coming up, so I'll be like the resident Warhammer analyst here.
There you go. There you go. But let's move on. Next topic is that God of War Ragnarok will be coming out this year. So here we go. This is from IGN. Pretty much, a God of War Ragnarok developer has reassured fans that the game will definitely be released this year. To celebrate the last God of War game's 4-year anniversary, director Cory Barlog released a video saying, quote, "I just wish we could share Ragnarok footage with you, but it's just not ready to be shown." And then that led some concern among fans that the game is going to take another delay, so it's going to be pushed another year. But after a fan on Twitter asked Sony Santa Monica animation director Bruno Velasquez, he simply said Ragnarok is coming this year. It was originally due to come out in 2021. It got pushed back to ensure, quote, to ensure that Santa Monica Studio can deliver the amazing God of War game that we all want to play, which was PlayStation's statement at the time. But some fans have been skeptical, though, as only a few minutes of the game has been shared. When it got delayed, Sony also delayed for Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo 7, saying that Forbidden West would launch in 2021, but it did not happen. And the reason that it got delayed is that protagonist Kratos' voice actor, which I believe is Judge. Oh, god dang it. I need to quickly look this up. I know it's not Jonathan Judge. That's not the right name. Because I do not want to mess this up, and I want to call it right. Let's see where. Sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right. Oh yeah, Christopher Judge. There we go. I am sorry. My memory is sometimes not good. Christopher Judge. Great dude. Christopher Judge, who was the voice actor for Kratos, revealed that he was part of the reason for the delay. However, saying that he had to undergo physical therapy following several operations back in 2019, therefore he couldn't work. So yeah, there we go. So just because in like the tweet, it's like a little video, and I'll go ahead and tag it in. It'll be in the sources, of course. The video again, because again we talked about this earlier. Rumor, speculation, fans going nuts, that kind of stuff. What do you think? Tell me what you think, Spectre?
Yeah, no, I'm like I was saying before, I'm glad that it's coming out this year. I hope it's not delayed again or anything else happens to it. It'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting to see if we're going to start seeing more of a shift for games to be released. Because I mean, of course, God of War 2018, of course, was released earlier this year on Steam. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm assuming there's no reason to think that it wouldn't eventually, God of War Ragnarok wouldn't eventually be on Steam as well. It's just a matter of, when could that happen? Are they going to start doing more day and date? Are they going to keep sort of a buffer, kind of like what your theory is, where they keep, it's on PlayStation for a period of time, and then it's moved over to Steam and it's opened up to other things. So I don't know. It's hard to say. That's kind of what I'm interested in, is how that's going to play out. You know, are you still kind of the mind that it's going to be um, it's gonna be on PlayStation 5 only, and then will come to Steam later, or do you think it'll come sooner this time around, like in less than a year, or even almost day and date? What do you think is going to happen?
Like coming to PC?
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume it will come to
Oh
PC.
yes, yes. I mean, mind you, it is coming to PS4 also. This is a coming to PS4. This is not PS5 only. I think it's after this game they're now going to be doing PS5 only games. I think I could be wrong, but I do know that like people were upset that like Horizon, this one, and Gran Turismo, and a few others were going to be PS5 only. And then Sony was like, "All right, yeah, they'll be on PS4 also." Um, which again is like we're kind of in that transition period, which you can do. Um, so so yeah, it's gonna be on PS4, but I don't think it's gonna be day one to PC. I don't think so. I think it's going to be more like 6 months to a year, kind of like what they have done in the past, where it's going to take a while for it to get PC because they want you to buy the PlayStation game. They want you to buy it for the console it was made for. But
Yeah,
but for me, like hearing this, I am glad that again, it more for me. It's more of the clarification. Mind you, it's one of those things that the fan base went rampant, and they're like, "Oh no, what does this mean?" And we're trying to connect the dots, and it's good that the clarification and the transparency that one of the developers said, "No, it's coming out this year. Calm down, we'll be fine." And it kind of makes sense when we saw that trailer from the showcase last year. It looked really polished. Like I honestly, I think we're when we get the release date announcement, which will probably be at the showcase this year. Within a month from that date, whatever the date is, whether it's October or September or August, whatever, that game will go gold within a month or a few weeks before it comes out.
I think that release date announcement is going to be very interesting, because then we'll get for a couple of reasons. I mean, we might get an idea right away if it's going to be released on Steam. I mean, there's like maybe a timetable for it, or even a hint of that. I mean, so someone's going to ask that question, of course, and of course, we're going to be looking at God of War, very famous for having collector's editions and bundles.
Mm-hmm.
So even just that announcement is going to be interesting, because I mean, like I said, I know you and I are a big fan of all the crazy bundles and stuff that comes out. So um,
And
it's
I think you and I have talked about this. If we haven't talked about it on the show, we've talked about it, off camera. But here's the thing: because Sony has now made panels for the PS5. Like I bought my black panels for my PS5, and it looks freaking gorgeous. You can buy purple, you can buy red, you can buy like this neon blue, like it's like light blue. You can buy black, like, and then you have the white panels that you get in the system. Even then, you can go online. You see people kind of customizing the white panels into like drawing or painting really cool stuff onto it. It's really awesome. I love it. But I think what would be smarter is, and mind you, I think it's smarter. I'm going to say this, and then I can tangent from there. I think it would be smarter for Sony to make limited edition panels. So like for $50, $60. Make them a little bit more expensive than your normal $40. I think it's like $30, $40 for the panels, the solid color. Make a God of War Ragnarok exclusive, like special edition panels for like $60, instead of making a whole another $500 system. Because the thing is, what happened is that Xbox did that with the Series X. Good luck finding the Halo Infinite Series X. You better buy it from the
right.
scalpers for like.
Well, I mean, it depends on how they want it. How they want it. Maybe they do both. I think they want to bundle it, of course, because it's sort of a guaranteed kind of it kind of boosts their numbers to some degree. It's a kind of a guaranteed install base, and they know people will go crazy for these bundles. That's why they keep doing it. If anything, these bundles have become much more popular over time. I remember it really wasn't even going back to the days of like PS3 and Xbox 360. It wasn't really much of a thing aside from I think 360 and Microsoft kind of started the trend of having a bundle for everything and having different colored consoles and stuff like that. They really kind of pushed that.
No, because
you didn't really see it much with like PlayStation 2, for example.
Yeah. There were white PS2s. I think there was like a clear. But
it wasn't like, I mean, not to the degree that Xbox. I mean, Xbox 360 probably had unironically,
oh my god,
20 different colors. And I mean, look at the Halo versions of it alone. There's a Halo 4 console, there's a Halo 3 console. I mean, there was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There was a Reach version of it. I mean, just for Halo,
there's an R2D2 one for the Star Wars Kinect game.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a big thing they pushed.
And mind you, those systems are gorgeous. I'm not even gonna lie.
I like that stuff. I like kind of having like a custom system thing. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it's going to be interesting because, like I said, I don't have a PlayStation 5 anymore. I don't particularly want to get a PlayStation 5. I don't really see a need for one. However, I do want to play God of War. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what they say about when it's coming out for PC or what the plan is for that. Which I still need to actually do God of War 2018 on PC. I have it in my Steam library. I just have not started it yet. I really should actually get around to that.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this game. I'm going to lose my mind, and I cannot wait for the PlayStation Showcase to go ahead and talk about this and reveal it. And I got to get that collector's edition, the biggest, stupidest, big, dumb version of it. And I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. And that is it of the news. We have one other thing to talk about. You ready for this, Spectre?
No.
Okay. Well, we're moving on anyway. This is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. Okay. So, I wanted to talk about this. So, I have this from IGN, and other people have been talking about this too. So from IGN, there was last week there was a report that Xbox is looking to include more advertisements in free-to-play games, and it looks like that PlayStation wants to do the same, or something similar. According to Advertising Insider, Sony wants to encourage developers to create free-to-play games by adding this new way to monetize them beyond microtransactions and battle passes. Similar to what we know about Xbox's program, the goal for Sony is for the ads to fit in with the rest of the game, like putting real-life ads on billboards in virtual sports stadiums. Sony is also looking into rewarding players for watching ads and promotion with in-game items, including avatar skins. While we already know Microsoft isn't planning to take a cut of the revenue, Sony is still deciding if it will share. As for what company Sony will partner with, one source in the report said that Sony has a strict vetting process for selecting ad partners, ruling out any company that collects personal information like email addresses and names. Sony's program is supposed to launch by the end of this year. There are some concerns about the program, namely how companies will be able to track gamers and their purchasing habits after seeing the ad in-game. And some advertisers may want to avoid promoting their product in games with violent content. Xbox is reportedly planning to launch its advertising program by the third quarter of 2022. It could include ads showing up as rendered billboards in racing games, for example. The profits will be shared between the game developer and the ad company. Advertising is not a new concept, but it is a first to see Xbox and PlayStation each committing to the ideal at this level. What we've seen in the past is that we've seen EA remove ads from UFC 4 after fan outcry, and we saw NBA 2K21 add unskippable advertisements in its loading screens. So, Spectre, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, advertising in video games, I mean, it's kind of a fascinating topic because it's sort of been around really kind of forever. I mean, it goes the way back to, I mean, I think you even have examples of Atari games that are basically just glorified ads, essentially, or were, I mean, we can all think of examples. There was like a Chester Cheeto game. I mean, think of even, broadening the scope. You have movie tie-in games are kind of in the same category. A lot of them were just glorified advertisements for a different product and cross promoting a different product. Um, so yes, I mean, I guess in terms of general philosophy on advertisements in games, um, I don't have like an inherent like I guess like a moral outrage or objection to them.
Mm-hmm.
I understand their purpose. Advertisements are a part of life. They're a part of media in general, and they're not always bad. Sometimes they're actually quite good. Sometimes I think we can all think of annoying ads and ads that we don't really care for too much, but we can also probably think of other ads that um, have kind of inform us of things that we might actually like to get and purchase, or things that we otherwise wouldn't have known about, especially with video games. So I don't think ads are inherently a problem by any stance. But in terms of in-game advertisements, um, I think from my perspective, just my personal preference of them is if you're going to have an in-game advertisement, it should be preferably something that's kind of organic in the setting itself. It shouldn't be something that's forced or that rests away or kind of takes the immersion out of the game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the examples they're citing here, like, like billboard ads in like a racing game, for example. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fine. Actually, in some ways, I would actually prefer that,
Mm-hmm.
because it adds a degree of like verisimilitude to it. Like, okay, you drive, and I'm not a racing fan person, but I mean, it's kind of nice. It would be, I guess, part of the fantasy would be you're driving down the track or the racetrack or whatever, and you see billboards just like you would in a real life like competition, essentially. So I think that makes sense. Sports games, obviously, sports advertisement is a huge industry. So that makes perfect sense. I mean, you go to a baseball stadium or a basketball game or whatever, you're going to see advertisements. It's just part of. I mean, it'd be almost. I think it'd be weird to not see advertisements in a game setting for that. Where I have, like, I think where you and I probably agree on this, where I have a problem with it is when it breaks immersion, when it's something like a Hulu style. We're taking a commercial break now from your game,
Mm-hmm.
and it wrests away that control from you. I don't think that's I don't think that's something that a lot of gamers would like. So I think it really, you have to be careful about how you do it. And sometimes I think I think there's some examples of games where you can kind of go overboard um, with advertisements. I think it was going back to that, what was it called? That, I think it was just called Ghostbusters, the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Really kind of bashed you over the head with some of its advertisements. Um, I'm trying to think of some other examples, like in recent history and more recent history, but um, yeah, I don't know. I guess, what are your thoughts on it?
So we've gotten tons of different we advertisements in video games have been happening for years. This is not a new phenomenon. Now when you were saying like advertisement in video games, meaning like movie tie-ins like Sega's Thor God of Thunder or Iron Man 1 and 2 or the movie tie-ins, it's a little bit different. That I wouldn't kind of say that as advertisement in video games with the way that we're talking about it. Those are video games based on a movie or based on a thing. It's a little bit different. Yes, you're like, oh man, I saw the movie. I want to go play the video game. Like, they do talk to each other. But I'm talking about like like I'm playing a video game. So if I'm playing, like, I think you and I were talking about this example a little bit a while ago. If I was playing God of War 2018, and we get to the part, spoilers if you haven't gotten there, if you please go play the game if you haven't. But there's a part where Atreus gets pretty much Atreus gets sick, and Kratos brings Atreus to Freya, to heal him. And in order to pretty much get what Atreus needs, Kratos has to go back to their home. And what happens is, so like you go ahead, there's this like really like they're building up the moment, and there's this ominous like music and just everything about it. They're building to this one moment, and you get on the boat to get to the house, and you get on the boat, and then all of a sudden it changes and it plays an ad for Ratchet and Clank or Horizon Forbidden West or something else. It literally stops and it plays this ad. That would ruin the experience. And mind you, what this moment that I'm talking about, if you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It is, in my opinion, the best part of that game. Like in Spectre, I know that you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I guess my question is, I mean, is this is that I mean, I read the article. I'm trying to understand. Is that what they're kind of looking to do, though? Is they're trying to, because it
No,
sounded like they're trying to. Yeah, go ahead.
the thing is that this article, and like I even the reason why the advertising insider, if you follow the link, and again, I'm again, this comes from IGN, but this is not the only place reporting it. I can even pull it up because I know Polygon has talked about this. I know Kotaku has talked about this. I just pulled it from IGN because it's the biggest video game media outlet out there, and I understand some people, with their opinions of IGN and that kind of stuff. I understand. But that's in games. If you click on the link to this, it kind of goes to their Twitter, and there's a ton of stuff. But like The Verge, Forbes, so on and so on. This would like IGN is not the only people talking about this. Everyone's talking about this. Eurogamer, so on and so on. So from what I understand, this is too early. We're too early in the process to really know how this is implemented. And again, Microsoft is in the same boat. Like it's I could say this about Xbox too. How is Xbox? Are they doing the same thing? It's just you have two different ways. You have two different ways where it says EA removes ads from UFC after fan outcry. I'm trying to see. Let's see. Yeah, they put in like ads. They're intrusive ads. So like in Madden, we've seen like if on the bleachers and on stuff, you see ads for other like what their sponsors or whatever. That's unintrusive. I don't care if you do that. Like it says, if you're playing a racing game, so if you're playing if you're playing Gran Turismo 7, and all of a sudden you race by and you see an ad on a billboard for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm still racing in my game. I'm still doing my thing. It's just there. Yeah, you see it. It's there. You cannot avoid it. But it's there. The difference though is that like what is really what I worry about is what 2K and EA do with their ads in video games. Because what they do is that when in NBA, and this is the one, like NBA 2K21 is a mess and a half, and God, that game is bad. Now, mind you, I have talked to friends of mine who love NBA, like they love playing NBA, and I asked them like, why? Like, because in 21 you had like a pachinko machine and all these different gotcha game kind of things to get virtual currency and my team pat like all of the other stuff. And I asked my friends about like what do you like about NBA? I'm curious because this is not for me. This is not what I like. And all the like from what I'm here, all the people who complain about the virtual currency and the pachinko machine and everything comes from people like us who don't play sports games. Okay, And you kind of have to like know, like people who play sports games is not. There are few and far between. The people who love playing sports games are also hardcore, like we play everything kind of gamers like us. You know.
Yeah.
So I asked my friends who like play NBA, like this is their game. I asked them, "Hey, what do you like about NBA? Like, do you like playing the pachinko? Like, do you like doing the my team stuff?" Some of them do, some of them don't. They're like, "No, I just like playing NBA and playing it's fun, play online sometimes." But the competitive like meta of NBA is in my team and all of that, my career and everything like that, where you have your character and you're trying to move stats, but people spend tons of money on virtual currency to add because you can fix your stats with virtual currency and a bunch of other stuff. And for them, they pretty much are like, it doesn't bother me, it's fine, it is what it is. You know, they deal with it because this is what they play, this is what they know. I found it fascinating where I'm like, huh, interesting, because I would not put up with this. I would not be okay with this. I would be upset. But then you also have like between matches, between plays in basketball, you would have this a 30-second commercial for Campbell's or whatever. And the thing is, because they made it an always online game, the ads would change. So the ads would shift depending on, what they wanted because of their advertiser partners or whatever. It wouldn't be the same ads. They would actually shift. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're seeing this like a lot in sports games. I just don't know. Like we talk about how Sony need like is financially kind of needs more money. Like they're not broke. They're not like, "Oh my god, we don't like they have money." But compared to Microsoft and probably even to Nintendo. Cuz Nintendo can eat losses, but they have their chest from forever ago. They have the war chest. They have, the millions and millions of dollars that they made off of toys and everything, even before they were a video game company. They have money for days. Like, they're fine. Sony doesn't. Now, mind you, Sony sells, cameras and TVs and audio, and they have Sony Pictures and all of that stuff. But I think the problem is that the different arms don't talk to each other. So PlayStation is off on its own. And I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And if I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear if I am wrong.
He's probably wrong.
Probably wrong. But regardless, we all know that Sony does not have as much money as compared to Microsoft. So this doesn't surprise me. But Microsoft is also really trying to get its foothold and kind of cementing itself as like, yeah, we're the better guys. We're better at this. And it's a business, mind you. This is all a business thing. Like this is like the whole console war thing that you and I, like us fanboys do. That's so much. That's just the internet and us talking. This is a business. It's all about making money. If a game sells well, we're gonna do that. And that's what you see with Jim Ryan, where Jim Ryan very much is playing much more conservatively when it comes to the games that he is behind. Because remember when we had Sean Layden, who was before Jim Ryan, he was like Days Gone was a game that Sean Layden was behind. We saw so many like Concrete Genie and Dreams and all these like weird.
I think it's safe to say that Sony's become a lot more risk adverse over time.
Mm-hmm.
In the last generation or two. I mean, it just feels that way. It feels like the idea is let's essentially keep making the same game over and over again, and take our existing IPs and kind of and sort of kind of homogenize them into the same idea. Like as much as I love God of War, and I like God of War 2018 quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to say it's a very different game in some ways than the old style God of War games. It's has a lot of the same elements of this, this idea of a third person story driven open world game,
Yeah.
with light RPG elements. And it feels like that's kind of, there's a lot of games that Sony makes that would fit that, that description as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of become, and I think it's a safe, it's a much safer game to sell than, let's say, like, I don't know, like, yeah, like a Concrete Genie, or like a real time strategy game or something like that. It's a much safer bet to make a open world third person story driven game, cinematic kind of style game, than it is to make something a little bit more risky. That's not to say, I mean, to their credit, I think Sony does, credit where credit's due. I think Sony does try to do some degree of innovation, especially on the VR front. I give them credit for that. VR is one of those things that historically has just been not all that crazy successful, and so, but they seem to be pushing that, and it wasn't just a one-off thing. They're carrying that through for this
Mm-hmm.
generation as
And
well.
I'm
So I give them credit. I'm not just anti-Sony. I give them credit where credit's due. But getting back to this advertisement thing, I understand. I mean, obviously, I think anybody can understand how this is beneficial to companies. I mean, um, selling ad space in video games, more eyeballs are on video games than anywhere else nowadays. So, I mean, it's especially within the last few years. So, I mean, this, you have to go where your customers are. So I can understand why companies are pushing for, oh, we got to get ads in games. We got to get ads in games. We got to get in front of them even when they're in, when they're in a video game. We got to get there. We got to advertise to them where they are, and build up that association in the game. So I understand where they're coming from. I understand how attractive that is, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with ads in games. I've never not purchased the game because of an advertisement in the game, or et cetera, at least that I can think of. It's never become such an egregious thing where I'm like, I can't play this anymore. It's just bashing me over the head with an advertisement or something. I never
mm-hmm.
had that experience, but I could see, yeah, if it becomes like a Hulu thing where you're interrupted for a commercial break, that would get old really, really quick. And I would not be a fan of that at all. I would not support a game that did that. I think any such game where that was the case would hopefully be review bombed at that point, and people would just be avoiding it like the plague.
Yeah.
Um, because that just sounds annoying as hell to me. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, and now mind you, they can be about how really it's about how it's implemented. Cause like, look, if you put ads in video games, and I think it's dependent on what video game it is too. Cause like if Uncharted,
That's
when
a really good point. That's actually a really good point
so
because, yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of brought that up earlier too, but I mean, I think advertisements are more at home in, like, let's say, like a sports game or a racing game, as compared to, like, let's say, a survival horror game. Like, I couldn't imagine playing like Silent Hill, for example, or Amnesia or whatever, and and then I'm surrounded by Coke advertisements or Pepsi advertisements everywhere. It would be a little distracting, I think.
hmm I mean, mind you, if we go back to, I mean, yeah, as I said, this is not the first time. When Uncharted 3 was out on the PS3, when you open up the multiplayer part of that game, because that's like it's two separate parts. You can do single player, and that's the single player campaign, or you can do the multiplayer. In the multiplayer, when you pull up that tab and you're in the lobby, on the like the lower left part of the screen, there was this tiny little screen, and it would pretty much show, like top five, plays of the day. So it's they were tracking and seeing like the best kills and stuff like that. But then in between them, there would be an ad from Subway and stuff like that because the Subway was doing a tie-in promotion with Uncharted. I remember going to Subway. I bought like that, and if you buy the drink, and you can get like the game like codes for the game and
Oh,
all this
it
good
worked
stuff.
on you.
Um, but it wasn't intrusive. It wasn't like I was playing the campaign, and all of a sudden, just after, you know, Drake catches himself after a whole building collapses, and he's able to catch on to like the remaining pole and stuff. It cuts to an ad for Subway. Like, no, that's no, that would be terrible. That's what happened in NBA. So that's just one example. Another good example of advertising in a video game that's being used well is in Fortnite. Like, they did Coachella in Fortnite. Like, the whole festival Coachella in Fortnite. They did an event with Marvel with Infinity War where pretty much Thanos shows up and you can pretty much play as him, or you get the Infinity Gauntlet and you can use all the powers of the Infinity Gauntlet in the game. Um,
You made me actually think of a situation like this was like I think last year, but it kind of in a weird way I actually kind of appreciated the advertisement because it sort of ended an era of legitimacy to the game. I watched. I'm a huge fan of it's over a 20-year-old game now. It came out in the late 90s. Age of Empires 2. It has a very active tournament scene to this day.
mm-hmm.
It's been re-released twice at this point. Very well supported game. I give Microsoft and them a lot of credit for supporting the game to this day. But anyways, the big world tournaments, a lot of the big tournaments for this game, which do draw quite a crowd, they're typically sponsored by Red Bull. Which I wasn't happy just to see Red Bull there. It was more so I was happy to see like, okay, there's legitimate, branding behind this. It was like this, I don't know, it ended an era of like, okay, this is like a real, like, this is like a serious thing. Like clearly this company sees this as like a legitimate thing and it's worth their advertising dollar to sponsor this. So in a weird way, I was happy to see the ads, because it kind of showed like, hey, this is legitimate, and this is actually something that helps support and draw attention to this community, and it keeps the game kind of alive in a way because they're the ones sponsoring the tournaments
Mm-hmm.
and kind of promoting the tournament. So advertisements, I guess, in a way, can sometimes actually be a good thing. Is kind of what my point is.
Yeah. Um. So again, we're right now speculating. There, we have no other information outside of both Microsoft and Sony want to do this, and it says
I think it's something that's coming. I think what we can agree on is that if it's appropriate and unobtrusive, then it's not necessarily like the worst thing in the world.
it all depends on how it's used. Because like people loved the Thanos. Now, mind you, it's kind of more of a tie-in more than like an advertisement. Like it is advertising Infinity War. And mind you, like they did in Fortnite, they did a thing where for I think it was for Rise of Skywalker, where like in a part of the map, the Millennium Falcon came down and it came out. You had the stormtroopers and everything, and then they played a clip from Rise of Skywalker in Fortnite. Um, like it's all about how it's implemented. If you implement it well, as if it feels like it's part of the game world, then fine. Um, like there's a lot there. We've seen it done well in the past, but we've also seen it done absolutely terribly in the past. And when we look at the terrible examples, a lot of it comes from EA and 2K, especially their sports games, because it's just like the sports games print money. It's so easy, and I think it kind of shows. And I'm not saying like Fortnite has kind of gotten its own. It's a beast of itself. Like it's not like it. I wouldn't even put Fortnite into the same category like a sports game is. Yes, Fortnite is just as casual as NBA or Madden or FIFA or whatever. I don't even consider WWE, like the WWE 2K games, as part of that. Because a lot of the people who play the wrestling games either are gamers themselves or they're wrestling fans, but wrestling fans are not stupid. Like I follow I follow a lot of wrestling personalities, and a
They're
good
not stupid.
shut up.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know you are. I'm aware. You just like fun poking and prodding me, Spectre. Um, but a good portion of these wrestling, personalities, and I'm talking about like not wrestlers themselves, but people who cover wrestling. They're not gamers like me. But they don't fall into the traps of buying virtual currency and doing all of that. Or at least that I have heard of. A lot of the times when they talk about them playing, you know, WWE 2K22, which is actually a really good game. Like it's a solid game if you take WWE 2K22 compared to all the other games, it's fine. It's good, it's solid, bam. But if you take it compared to all the other past wrestling games, it's actually a very good game. But the people who've been playing WWE 2K22, I haven't heard really a lot of them like, oh yeah, I spent $100 on virtual currency. Da, 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 da. They just kind of like play the game and that's about it. And there are no advertisements in that game at all. They're oh hey buy Snickers and all that kind of stuff. Um, at least in my knowledge. But in NBA, it's everywhere. Madden, it's everywhere. FIFA, it's everywhere. So it's all about how you do it. Like, can you think of any other examples?
I think of I mean, sometimes obviously, I mean, it can get a little cheesy, like you can kind of go a little over the top with it sometimes. Like I remember the Burger King games that came out, the Sneak
Mm-hmm.
King and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that was actually as early as that was as recent as the 360. KFC recently has kind of made a foray into gaming. They even were planning to release a like a video game console of sorts that could
Yeah.
fry chicken. Just, I mean, sometimes it's a little. I mean, there's nothing like wrong with any of this. I'm like, there's no moral outrage over this. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it can get a little like you can kind of jump the shark with it to some degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do like advertising, I think it should be kind of like some general rules. Like I said, it should be kind of organic. It should fit with the game and the tone of the game. Um, it should and along with the tone of it, the products themselves I guess should kind of make sense to some degree. Like I wouldn't probably advertise I wouldn't go into like Forza or a Madden, for example, and have like a big tampon ad on there. Like, that would be a little tone deaf, I think, but
Mm-hmm.
that'd be kind of funny and ridiculous, but it would also be kind of, like I said, completely silly. Um, so that would kind of take away from the experience because it would just be kind of distracting almost to that degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got to be careful of it. I think advertising works best when it is when it kind of complements the game. Like, I think another example I can think of that people seem to like with a fairly recent game, and it's not actually a game that I care for at all, was Death Stranding. Death Stranding, like I said, I didn't play the game myself. I haven't played it, but I have watched significant portions of gameplay for it. And there's a very prominent, almost kind of like silly, consistent references to Monster Energy drink.
Yeah.
It kind of pops up everywhere, and yeah, it's silly, but one thing I actually do, I'll actually compliment Hideo Kojima for once. One thing I actually do like is he does have a sense of humor to some of his games. It's not always appropriate. It doesn't always fit with the tone of the game,
Yeah.
but he does have a sense of humor. And it does, like I said, it doesn't always work, but sometimes it is kind of actually funny. And I thought all the constant references to Monster Energy drink, especially in kind of a post-apocalyptic world, like where it doesn't really fit, essentially, like Death Stranding, I thought it was kind of humorous to me. So I mean, sometimes I mean, you got to be creative with it, and advertising is a very hard thing to do. It's a reason why I never got into marketing or or advertising, because I mean, it takes a lot of creativity. And I'm a creative person myself, but I consider myself to be a creative person, but at the same time, like it's tough. It's really tough to do properly. Um, I think anyone would agree with that.
Yeah, no, I totally get you there. But yeah, I really don't have any more like examples to go through. I think my closing thoughts is just like I I'm not a fan of this. Like kind of like overall. Like I like it.
I guess the part that I'm worried about is a lot of things are um so many things in life can become are kind of a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much, especially in the world of in video games, yes. I mean, politics and stuff. I mean, so many things in life are such a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
It's never start. You don't start day one with you know, like for a video game example, you don't start day one with microtransactions. You start by priming the user for it to some degree. Like, okay, people became used to expansion packs, and then they became used to DLC, and like a DLC expansion pack. And then eventually, you kind of add in slowly, like little microtransactions, and before you know it, you're a live service, pay to win kind of game.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is kind of this idea of like a slippery slope. Like, okay, they put in advertisements in like Forza and this, and they're fairly harmless. Nobody has a reaction to them. But then they're like, oh well, they use this as an excuse to be like, oh well, now that we've got our foot in the door
Yep.
and people are used to it, now we're gonna go to your next God of War game. It's gonna have that advertisement right before a pivotal scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something we got to watch out for. But at least assuming that it stays in its current form, or it kind of stays similar to what we see in the past, I don't have a huge problem with it. So that's kind of my closing thoughts on it.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I guess if you implement it well, fine. It just yeah, as you said, it's the slippery slope. Slippery, slippery, slippery slope. So yeah. All right. I think that is everything. Ooh boy. All righty. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. And please tell us what you guys think. Tell us in the comments about all that kind of stuff. If you agree with us, disagree, all that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you guys. Also, press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know we put up a video. And also, press the like button. So that way, YouTube knows you like what we do. And then you can also follow us on Twitter at DualShock'd That's the name of this PlayStation podcast, DualShock'd BOG. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is instagram.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. And then also we are going to be streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of more streaming. We're going to be kind of doing our review process over there. Spectre will probably be streaming. I'll be streaming. All the fun stuff. We may see some new faces over there. Who knows? All that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
Anything else you want to say,
Sounds good to me.
Spectre?
No. I like I said, you know how I am. I always like the topics where we can kind of have a boxing match over it, But every now and I mean, a lot of things we do kind of agree on. I think this is something where we're pretty much aligned on, and that's I think we kind of have the same idea on this one, and I hope, like I said, I hope it kind of stays in this form. I hope it doesn't get kind of follows that slippery slope theory.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, and then, well then, with that being said, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
I'm Spectre.
And as always, live to play together. We'll see you guys next time.